Tukaribishe waziri kwa shangwe na vigelegele akiingia. Tukaribishe waziri wa fedha. Asante sana Bwana John Mbadi. Tumkaribishe waziri. Tukaribishe waziri. Tusherekee kwa shangwe na vigelegele. Waziri akidance. Makofi Kiambu. Makofi Kiambu. Kiambu hoye. Kiambu hoye. Shangwe na vigelegele waziri akidance. Shangwe na vigelegele waziri akidance. Asante sana. Asante. As we remain standing, let's sing the national anthem. Sound system, national anthem. Thank you. We'll welcome Pastor Alois to pray. Please let's remain standing.
Okay, let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your love upon our life. In Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, the Bible says, let us create man in our own image and the likeness, Lord. When man was made so that he can be able to be like you, Lord. We thank you, Father, Lord, because of the love that you first loved us, Father, and even you sent your Son, Jesus Christ, so that through him we might be with you again. Father, today you've allowed us to be here so that we can be able also to think about our country, Kenya, as one, Lord. We thank you for our guest of honor, Honorable John Mbadi, and other protocol officer, Father, whom you brought into this area so that we can be able to talk about our nation. Father, as we are going to have this program until the end, we pray so that you may be able to be with us, so that we can be able, Lord, to witness how you want us to live, not only the government and also people who are living in no life, Father. Thank you for today. As we are starting, be with us until the end. We pray those believing and trusting in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. We can sit. Kiambu hoye. Kwa ishara ya mikono, wangapi wanakaribisha waziri wa fedha John Mbadi? Asanteni sana. Now, today we are happy to be in Kiambu County, and our main focus is budget 2026-2027. We have different stakeholders I will start with the strongest, the largest, and the most energetic. Comrades, by show of hands, wangapi wanakaribisha waziri? Comrades, 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 power. We only have one political father as comrades. That is John Mbadi. Nione kwa mikono. Wangapi wanakaribisha John Mbadi? Asanteni sana. Bunge. Bunge tumekula. Bunge power. Asante sana. Business community, wafanyi biashara wa Kiambu. Nice. Thank you. Now, our main focus here today is public participation. That is dialogue. If you see our setting, it is the people who are sat in front of us, right? Meaning they are our bosses today. We are going to listen to them fully and make sure that their voices find their way into the next financial budget, right? So let's make this engagement fruitful, and at the end of it, we all gain as stakeholders of this country. So, as I've said, our focus is on privatization and budget 2026-2027. I will go straight to welcome the host member of parliament, that is Honorable Mashua, to officially welcome us to Kiambu County. Let's clap for him as he comes.
Thank you very much. Bwana CS John Mbadi, group yako, team yako, principal Waitito, watu ya Kiambu County. God is good all the time. Mimi jina naitwa John Mashua Idhaka. Mimi ndio mbunge wa Kiambu. And I would like to officially welcome you. Hapa tunakaa ni kunaitwa KIST, na hata ofisi ya governor iko pale mbele. So Kiambu is actually the capital of Kiambu County. And you're all very welcome. Najua watu ya Badi walikuwa nauliza huko Kiambu iko namna gani. Nikamwambia Kiambu iko imara kabisa. Mkuje muambie watu yetu vile mnataka, mkuwe na public participation nzuri na kila kitu itakuwa sawa sawa. Kwa hivyo yangu si mengi, ni welcome tu Bwana Badi na group yake. Na niongeze kidogo ni kusema nataka kupongeza Bwana CS Badi kwa sababu yeye ameleta mawazo mpya ya kusaidia hii serikali yetu. Mnakumbuka hapo mbeleni tulikuwa tunachukua malon mingi kutoka China, kutoka napata Eurobond, lakini amekuja na policies mpya kama vile kuuza Safaricom, shares za Safaricom ambazo hazitusaidii zikiwa pale Kenya Pipeline. Tukiuza hizo stocks zitakuja kutusaidia kufanya infrastructure. Kama sasa najua mnataka hii barabara kutoka Mohave mpaka huko Muthaiga. Sasa Bwana Badi akona policies ambazo zitafanya tusichukue loan, tunajisaidia sisi wenyewe by using our own resources that we have in this country. And by the way, Bwana Badi ameniambia kwamba hii Kiambu Road kutoka pale Mohave mpaka Muthaiga should be starting very soon. Hata imeenda procurement na hivi karibuni contractor atakuwa on site. Kwa hivyo that is a milestone ambaye Bwana Badi watu wengi hapa Kiambu wamekuwa wakingoja hiyo barabara. Na hiyo barabara tukijenga hii Kiambu itakuwa sawa sawa. Hiyo ingine ni kusema Bwana Badi, tunafurahi sana wewe kukuja hapa siku ya leo kuchoose hapa Kiambu kufanya hii public participation. Na watu they want just a conducive environment kufanya kazi zao. Hawa hataki mambo ingine, nifanye serikali iwe mzuri, barabara ziwe, environment iwe nzuri, na sisi tutaendelea. Kwa hivyo for those brief remarks, I want to welcome you Bwana Badi and all your group here. Na mimi tuko pamoja, na we want to encourage all of you. Mjue leo ni siku yenu. muongee. Ile maswali mingi mnaandikanga kwa social media, ambieni huyu ako hapa. Sikuambia social media alafu mtu wale anakujibu hata ajui maswali yote iko hapa, huyu atawajibu. Ndio muende nyumbani mkijua mpango yetu iko namna gani. Kwa hiyo machache, thank you very much. Mungu awabariki.
Asante sana mheshimiwa. Asante kwa kutukaribisha Kiambu. I will move to representation of the national government. Let me invite the principal was supposed to come first because we are in his institution. Tafadhali tupigie makofi akikuja kutukaribisha. Asante sana, pole.
Asante sana mheshimiwa. Asante sana waziri wetu wa fedha, our cabinet secretary for national treasury, Honorable John Bandi, the area member of parliament, wananchi wa Kiambu, najua kuna wanafunzi, kuna wafanyi biashara. Hamjambo. Nitumie lugha ambayo mheshimiwa Mashua ameitumia kwa sababu najua tuko wengi. Niseme rangu ni kuwakaribisha katika chuo hiki chetu cha Kiambu National Polytechnic. Kwa wale ambao wanauliza maswali, hii ndio ilikuwa KIST, Kiambu Institute of Science and Technology. Lakini baada ya miaka 50 ya kufanya kazi vizuri, tukakuwa upgraded to the Kiambu National Polytechnic. Kwa hivyo ni kukua tumekuwa. Na najua wale ambao walipitia hapa miaka 5 iliyopita wameona chuo ambacho ni tofauti sana. Nataka kuwakaribisha hapa Kiambu National Polytechnic. Hii ni hall yetu ya mikutano. Kuna hall hapa, kuna exhibition area hapa. Kwa hivyo na hii hall iko open kwa wananchi wote wa Kiambu. Mheshimiwa Mashua atakwambia anakuwa na mikutano yake hapa na mkutano wote wa jamii ya Kiambu. Hiki chuo ni chenu. Mheshimiwa waziri, nataka kushukuru serikali yetu kwa sababu among our TVET institutions we have the biggest project funded by the government. That is the Center for Industrial Mechatronics. The construction is already done. We are waiting for the equipment of that facility. For your information, this center and this building that we are in has been done in the last 3 years, and all this from internal funding. And as I was saying, with the flow of capitation and with the number of students that we have, at the moment 8,900, we can do some of the infrastructure projects. So I want to welcome you to Kiambu National Polytechnic. This should be your first time, but this should not be your last. Kwa wananchi wa Kiambu tunaendelea na admission. We want to grow our population to 15,000 students. We already have the new center that has been constructed by the government that can accommodate up to 3,000 students. Next to Total, you have seen a hospitality complex. All these are facilities that are available for us. So we want to do an admission, 5,000 students. Just the other day, we got results for the Form 4s. About 700 are supposed to join our colleges. Nataka ku urge everybody, don't allow your son, your daughter, your neighbor to remain at home with a Form 4 certificate. It is not enough. Kindly let them come to Kiambu National Polytechnic. Admission is ongoing, and we give the best services. We train, we examine, and we give certificates, and we work with the students and the parents to ensure that they get placed. Tena karibuni sana Kiambu National Polytechnic. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's clap for the principal again. Asante. Now we will move to national government. Allow me welcome Senior Deputy County Commissioner TM Masharia. Tumpigie makofi.
The Honorable John Buddy, our Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury, and your entourage, the Honorable Mashua Waithaka, Area Member of Parliament for Kiambu, the Chief Principal, Mr. Itito, and the Fraternity of Kiambu National Polytechnic, distinguished participants. Good afternoon. Good afternoon again. Let me take this opportunity on behalf of the national government to invite you again, Cabinet Secretary, kwa sababu I haven't had an opportunity to interact with you here in Kiambu. So let me take this opportunity to welcome you to Kiambu County on behalf of the County Commissioner who's away. I want to remind you, sir, that we met once a long time ago, around the year 2012, when you came to the office of the President to be sworn in as an Assistant Minister for the office of the President. I'm sure that is surprising. Those days I used to work at the office of the President, Harambee House. Lakini siku hizi mimi ni mtu wa mashinani. Ukija hapa unatupata hapa mashinani na Mheshimiwa Mashua Waithaka. So I'm happy to see you again. You have since made tremendous progress. You are now heading a very, very important docket, which is one of the 6 historically important functions of government since the creation of government in Athens, Greece. Now, to the people gathered here of Kiambu, I'm sure you know that public participation is seriously entrenched in the Constitution. Because when you come to the theory of government, sisi watu wa mashinani hapa, we are the agents. Mheshimiwa Badi, Mheshimiwa Mashua Waithaka, actually, we are the principals. Mheshimiwa hapa, you are agents. Ideally, you are supposed to do what we are saying. So that is why public participation was entrenched in the Constitution to enable that nexus between our wishes and what actually gets done to be stronger. Unfortunately, sometimes when these forums are convened, you find people do not turn up. Like here, we are very few, about 250. Yet this is Kiambu with over 2 million people. So I think I want to urge all of us, every time we have a public participation meeting, whether it is facilitated or not, because hapa Mheshimiwa Mashua, you know, tuko na hiyo kashida. If a meeting is not facilitated, utajiongelesha. So I'm happy that this one is facilitated. This one is facilitated. You know, I really struggle out there in the field. I have a lot of good news about what government is doing. But when I call my people to come and listen to the good policies and also to receive feedback from them about what might not be working, yes, because sometimes when you have new programs, there might be teething problems. Bring those problems to us, let us know, so that then we can escalate to our bosses, starting with Mheshimiwa Mashua, and then all the way to Mheshimiwa John Buddy, because the treasury is the core. The treasury is the core. In fact, in many countries, once you have served as the Minister of Finance or the Chancellor of the Exchequer, uko mstari wa mbele kukuwa hata Prime Minister ama President. Are you aware of that? Because the treasury is so important. If you manage the treasury properly, then watu wanasema huyu anaweza tupeleka mbele. So I don't want to say a lot, just to welcome you here, the business community, the students who are here, and the bunge la wananchi. This is a very, very important engagement. Let us tell Waziri what we want to be done. There are so many things that we want to be done. And if we can say those things early enough, and of course I will request Waziri to assure us that what we say here will be taken on board. Yes? Let us have that assurance so that in future engagements, watu wanaweza kuwa wengi hapa. Mheshimiwa Waziri, we have had very many public engagements, public participation meetings with the chief principal, and we are happy that he hosts us here very nicely. So that assurance is important. I know, Mheshimiwa Mashua, you know, we have had these discussions so that we create faith and confidence in this particular engagement. Sawa sawa? Si hapo ni sawa? Yes, so with those few remarks, once again, sir, karibu tu Kiambu. Asante.
Thank you. Najua tumekuja in the afternoon, but DC anauliza hapo ni sawa. Kiambu hapo ni sawa? Hamjakula? Kiambu hoye. Tuko na waziri wa fedha jamani. Tuchangamke kidogo. Now, direct we go to context setting, why we are here. As the speakers have said, this is purely a dialogue session, which is encompassing around public participation. Friends, a while back, not long ago, Waziri will tell you that Kenya was among the 5 countries that was listed as possible sovereign debt defaulters. How we got out of that, it was 6. How we got out of that, he will explain. But he will give you the benefit of doubt, or rather will tell you that we are no longer not in that trouble. And right now as we speak, our economy is the biggest in East and Central Africa. And if I'm not wrong, we should be number 6 in Africa. So that is all under the brainchild of John Mbadi Ngongo. Please let's clap for him. Now, when we will be speaking, let us focus on the budget. The financial year is imminent. What is the expectation of the people? Where are we heading to as a country? We are in the political temperatures, but the assurance is the government of the people. The government of Kenya is listening to the people, and that is why its representation is here with us today. Please let's clap for the government of the day. Thank you. So straight ahead to the stakeholders, I will start with the leadership of the institution. Let me welcome Ronnie, who will in turn introduce its leadership, and then we go direct to our panel. Ronnie, welcome.
Comrades power. Comrades power. Comrades peace. Comrades viva. Comrades peace. Mbona muongei. Comrades power. Comrades power. Haya, kwa majina naitwa Ronnie. I'm very happy meeting you. My principal, Mr. Sami Waititu, His Excellency, our beloved CS Finance, Mr. John Mbadi, and your colleagues, feel most welcome. We are very much happy to welcome you in this great institution. I don't want to forget my former president, Mr. Bruce. He can wave to the congregation. I have only a few things to demonstrate, to put across. One, our CS, I'm very happy for this day, and I've heard when road infrastructure is mentioned, I will request that for our students, during the budgeting, you budget for them the footbridge, so that will help them to avoid accidents. Second, again, I will request if you can bring for us the security lights along the school from our main gate to the Kiambu town, at least for security purposes. Pia siwezi sahau hao wanafunzi wangu, wengi wamekuja hapa, wengine wameandika majina zao, wengine pia hawajapata nafasi kuandika majina zao. They are very sad because they think that they will be left out during, I think, something. Yeah. So I will request that you remember them. Yeah, remember them. Our ni comrades, at least you've seen they have come out. They really love you. Ama ni aje? Sinivo. Comrades power. Kuna semekana kabla hujajisahau pia lazima ujiongelele. Sini ukweli? Our beloved CS, just as I've stated my name, I'm called Ronnie. I am a third-year student. I'm now finalizing my course, Civil Engineering in Diploma. First request, I'll wish that when I finalize March, please grant me a job, please. 2, I'm requesting that I'm having a school fee balance of 50,999. I'm really requesting that if you can really help me support this. Actually, I have even the copy of my school fee balance. It is 50,000. 50,000, if you can help me. Yes. Please help me. And then to my comrades, please usiwasahau. At least kama wanatoka, si at least pia watoke na kakitu. Then pia we have the non-staffs here. They have really organized this place. It's very clean. Usiwasahau. The security pia. Ama ni aje? Comrades power. Ni mbadi ama sio mbadi? Si ni hivyo? Ametosha ama hajatosha? Lastly, the NEC students were being awarded the KUSIPS capitation. This time we have got the SIDAC student. We are just being awarded the help. There is no SIDAC capitation. Please help us because most of our students, we are really suffering. Please, ama ni namna gani? Ni hivyo ama sio hivyo? KUSIPS capitation to be replaced with the SIDAC capitation na help. Si ni hivyo? Shukrani sana. Comrades power. Comrades viva. Comrades peace. Thank you.
Roni ameongelea tu comrades, amesahau kuna kina mama. Kina mama hoe. Kuna wazee tibim. Asante sana. I will, in the spirit of comrades, I will also start the stakeholding programs with the students themselves. So allow me to introduce, that is Lisa Wambui from Kiambu National Polytechnic. Let's clap for Lisa.
Hi everyone. My name is Lisa Wambui, and I stand here very honored to be in front of our able CS and the very other invited guests. I speak today as a student, a young Kenyan, and a future contributor to this economy. The issues I raise are not theoretical, but they affect my education, my ability to participate meaningfully in the national development programs. So, Honorable CS, students understand and appreciate the government's efforts to unlock capital through partial privatization of Safaricom and Kenya Pipeline, and we understand that the government wants to sell about 15% of its shares to gain about 200 billion. We see the statistics, we've done the statistics, and we understand. But for us, Safaricom is not just a company. It's our classroom. It's our bank, M-Pesa. It's our library, the internet. So when Safaricom is privatized, Mr. CS, I'd like to ask, what safeguards would you put in place to ensure that they won't increase our airtime, they won't increase for us data and what? Because that's basically locking us out of digital platforms to learn. So that was my question. On top of that, I wanted to ask on help funding. Honorable CS, help is not optional for students, it's survival. Second semester help funds have been delayed. The cost of living for us has increased. Rent, food, transport, and academic materials are more expensive. My request, we are kindly requesting for timely disbursement of these help funds. This is what we rely on to eat, to sleep, to move, to come to school, to help our family. We rely on this help for everything. Thirdly, I'd like to ask for financial literacy for students. Many of us receive this help, receive small loans, receive so many things, but we lack budgeting skills. We lack saving and investment knowledge. We lack awareness in debt or financial risk. Therefore, so many students get up into aviator. Juicy people were in Betika betting for 4 million Kenya shillings when giving 100. So many students are losing their money to these things because they don't have this financial literacy. I'm kindly requesting that the Ministry of Education and Higher Learning, together with your Ministry of National Treasury, come together to organize for us financial literacy programs, whereby as students we learn how to save our money, we learn how to do these things. I'd also like to ask for support for youth-led non-profit organization. Honorable CS, there are youth-led organizations that are solving real community problems with creativity and innovation, yet they lack funding. Examples include Simei Synergy for Change, which the CEO and founder is sitting right here in the congregation, Mr. Trevor Abashora. He leads this organization as a small organization, but has been leading it for 2 years. It has had great impact and has been recognized by Kenya Vision 2030 as a youth-endorsed program. However, SSC basically lacks funding. How will it continue? The CEO is right here taking videos. May he stand and be recognized by the CS. He has made big change and shown so much, and he's encouraged us to go through and get through so much as youth, and he's encouraged us to move. Lastly, now let me be a little bold and a little honest. Put me on the Youth Advisory Board, Mr. CS. And I promise you one thing, I'll come with real ideas from the ground. I'll bring those hostile conversations, the campus struggles, and the little innovations such as SSC. And I'll make sure that the youth voices are heard and are translated actually into policy. So basically, as I close, my message is simple. Kindly protect student access to digital services, even as you privatize Safaricom. Kindly fix and strengthen HELB funding. Kindly empower youth through financial literacy programs. Kindly support youth-led innovations such as SSC led by our able youth here. Kindly involve young people as partners in policy, as I've requested to be put in the Youth Advisory Board. Because we are not just beneficiaries of government policy, we are partners in nation building. Thank you so much and have a good rest of your day.
If you're keen, Lucy has touched on our theme very well. Budget 2026-2027, where is the position of the youth, and most importantly, privatization. By a show of hands, how many people understand what privatization is here? Honestly, well, that is why we are here today. Privatization, friends, in layman, means the government is, I don't want to use the term sell, it is transferring ownership of public enterprises or assets to private individuals or companies. And the main aim for this is a fiscal tool that is being used to help reduce public expenditure and most importantly, raise revenue. And when Waziri will come, I think he will perfectly touch on this. So once again, let's clap for Lisa. Let me welcome her partner, Peter Mburu, who will speak.
All protocols observed. Good afternoon. My name is Peter Mburu, a first-year student of hospitality pursuing food and beverage management in Kiambu National Polytechnic. I was a former campus student at the University, Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology. However, I decided to transfer and join Kiambu National Polytechnic because of its high standard skills and the quality service offered in this institution. My main area of concern, much has been said by my partner. However, I stand at a level where the youths are actually affected by the increasing cost of living and the the barrier to join the entrepreneurial world. We have many youths seated here who have big ideas, who have a lot of knowledge which is not put into practice to bring forth the fruits. It is sad that our education produced unemployable youths. Youths who have qualified, yes, but they are unemployable. It is so sad. Yet these students have a lot of privilege, have a lot of that power to change, not just our schools, not just our county, but even our nation at large. So my request is for youths to be acknowledged in the entrepreneurial world, to be offered loans which will be able to finance these students who are willing and able to start businesses, because we know wealth is freedom, and without wealth, a lot of youths are wasting their time, are wasting their years in drugs, in illicit activities which are not beneficial to their future. Another one, I would like also to emphasize on what my counter said concerning the disbursement. Once I joined the campus, it was an issue which was very, very hurting, because my parents had to go back in their pocket and actually finance the whole campus joining, which was so sad because they were not in a position to do that. And this is the kind of situation many young people are actually facing out there. There's increasing number of hopelessness in these young people, yet there's a lot of things which can be done to be able to make them prosperous in their studies. So concerning help, I would like to request also that the funds may be released in time, and also the glitch which happens when one wants to access the funds. So in the upcoming budget, I'd like to request that the government to look forward to ensuring the systems are well catered for and students are allocated budget at good time. Finally, as I conclude, I'd like also to request for affordable housing which will be able to stretch to all students all across the country. I know it is in specific counties and specific schools. However, I'd like to request that this affordable housing to be also stretched to institutions like Kiambu and also the surrounding schools. This will enable students have that serene environment, have that peace when they are joining the campus or when they are continuing with their studies. Once they feel there's peace in what they are doing, once they feel there's that security in what they are doing, I believe we'll be able to change the future of this school, of this country, because the future is in the hands of the youth. And I know there's a lot of capability and a lot of opportunities which are within their areas of concern. So that is all. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Tupigie Peter makofi. Asante Bwana Peter. The next stakeholders, that is the Bunge la Wananchi. I will welcome the chairman, Dan Jenga. Let's clap. Let's clap for Dan Jenga as he comes.
CS John Bandi, Area MP, all protocols observed. Good afternoon. I here speak on behalf of Bunge la Wananchi, Kiambu version, and we are here to articulate our issues as we would wish, the problems that are facing Kiambu. Bunge power, comrades power, comrades power. We are with the CS today, and we ought to articulate what we have been going through, or we want to be featured in the budget 2026-2027. I want to give us a very short story that was very popular with the late Professor Wangari Maathai. She gave a story of a hummingbird that a forest broke, fire broke in a forest, and the fire was overwhelming. So all the big animals came out and they were watching outside, watching as the fire ranges the forest. But there was this hummingbird bird, was so tiny that would pick a drop of water and pour into the raging fire. Then she could do it each and every now until she could do the best. Then the elephant that had a big task asked her, "Why are you wasting time?" But the hummingbird, in her humble request, expressed that is the best I can do. In Kiambu, we have some programs that in Bunge we are articulating. Under the Kiambu Mall Self-Help Group, we have chairs, we have tents, and we have a camera that we use to generate income generating activities for the members of the Bunge. We also have the International Youth Fund that is working with the office of the area MP, Mr. Mashua, that is trying to connect the youths to get short skills that will empower them instead of them being idle. The youth leader is here. Probably I would wish to acknowledge him. Thank you. Finally, Bona PS, the proximity to town, Kiambu and Nairobi, there's a problem of alcoholism and drug abuse. Kindly, with the area MP, we need a rehabilitation. The private ones that exist are far too expensive for the common man. Bona CS, our group has humbly requested you. We have currently about 250 chairs that we do renting for 10 shillings per chair. It is our humble request that if possible you can make it to 1,000. We also have 5 tents that accommodate 50 people. If we can get at least 10 tents that can accommodate 50 people per tent, that's about 500. Finally, with the IT and the social media, we need both a camera, a video camera, and several photo cameras. With these few remarks, I thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Bwana Dan. I will welcome his partner, Monica Wairimu. Tumpigie makofi.
Thank you very much. All protocols observed. My name is Monica Wairimu, the Deputy Chair, Bunge la Wananchi Kiambu. Mine is just a few questions concerning privatization. Tumeambiwa in layman's language, hiyo ni kusema utaki kutumia selling, but it is selling. How does mwananchi benefit from this? The common mwananchi ana benefit aje from hiyo kuuza? Well, Bwana Mashua mentioned that it is for building roads and so on. I would ask humbly if you can explain to the people, because hapa kwa bunge tunakanga chini tunachapa story vile tunazisikia, lakini kama tunaweza elezewa vizuri what happens, where the money is going and how we are benefiting, probably it will be easier kusema vile tuna nini. Mama mboga atasaidika aje? Yule mama mboga ukiuza, when you're building probably dams or whatever, how mimi kama mwana mboga nitasaidika aje? Mama mboga nitasaidika aje? Probably when you can explain to the people, you know, in detail, in layman's language, they can understand. Ukiuza like KPC, yeah, for 100 shillings, probably 900 shillings minimum, it is mama mboga hata overtakiwa na the banks. You know the banks have big money. ataweza kuzinunua? If you do, will she be able, ataweza compete with the big banks, and those investors that have money? Probably if you can explain this, inaweza kuwa easier for us to understand na sio kupinga mambo yenye inaendelea. So niseme nikiwa kama bunge la mwananchi, as my colleagues have said, we need a few things. Ours is about empowerment, to empower us. Tuko na watoto tunahitaji kulea, so we need the empowerment. We have some programs. Tuko na woman representative kwa bunge la wananchi. Maybe I could recognize her, Monica Gadura. Wasalimia kidogo. Yeah. Tuko na wamama wanahitaji mambo kadha wa kadha. Maybe tukaweza saidika. We can give you a proposal. We have it before you leave. Maybe you can consider us. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. Kiambu, I can see a very good timekeepers. To the last stakeholders, that is the business community. By show of hands again, representation of the business community, tuone kwa ishara ya mkono. Asante wafanyibiashara. I will welcome the first representative, that is Dr. Juliet Kimemia. Karibu sana mama, tumpigie makofi.
Thank you very much. The Cabinet Secretary in charge of National Treasury, Honorable Bandi, the two Director Generals, Principal of KNAP, Mheshimiwa Mashua, wafanyibiashara, vijana, bunge la wananchi, habari zenu. Habari zenu tena. Situpigie waziri makofi kwa sababu ya kukututembelea. Like you've been told, my name is Dr. Juliet Kimemia. I stand here representing the business community and also representing the women leader, because I sit in the committee of the county commissioner representing all the women in the county under the Gender Technical Working Group. And I am also the Kiambu leader for Africa Women Leaders Network. Muko? Viongozi muko? Na mumengara sana. Waziri, wanawake hapa wanapenda kufanya biashara. Sindio? What we want is just an enabling environment to do business. So first and foremost, these are our input or our suggestions as far as the budget is concerned. We have studied it, and we note that the first charge is on payment of debt. Unfortunately, Waziri, you over-concentrate on foreign debt and you forget the domestic debt. Right now, Kiambu County, we have more than 5 billion in pending bills, stretching from 2014, most of them up to 2022. This has caused a lot of suffering among the business community. We've had many people even dying, being auctioned. And our prayer is that in this coming budget, as you consider paying the foreign debts, kindly consider paying the pending bills. And we would recommend that the pending bills are not controlled, the payments are not controlled by the interests of the sitting government, because they've been accumulated from the first county government, and wananchi walifanyia serikali kazi. So they didn't do it for Kafogo, they didn't do it for Waitito or Nyoro or Wamatangi. So they need to be paid. So there has been a lot of back and forth. The county government saying that they want to verify. How do you verify a Maram road that was done in 2015? Surely it is not right. So we need your intervention as the business community, because this has caused a lot of suffering at community level, and that's why we are having a high cost of living. If this money was released to the local economy, our vijana watapata kazi. We will be able also to access finance from finance institutions. So kindly consider paying the pending bills and let it be delinked from politics. Another suggestion we want to put across is the revision of the public procurement framework, so that it doesn't just favor those people who are called tenderpreneurs. So they have devised systems of even taking what is reserved for special interest groups. Unaona mtu akona tenda Nairobi County, akona tenda Kwakera, akona tenda, the same person. So our suggestion is that at community level, because we have self-help groups, CBOs, they are also considered for pre-qualification, so that they can implement the programs at community level, and then they'll also be able to be the custodians of sustainability, because watajulikana tu hii mradi ilifanywa na Lydia nakaanga pale chini na alikula pesa yetu. So there'll be better accountability if we extend the pre-qualification to the special interest groups, who are self-help groups and CBOs. We want to thank National Treasury for, we have 3 World Bank funded programs that National Treasury is implementing. We have the NAF-CDP and the FLOCA and the CEFA. Unfortunately, the CBOs and the self-help groups have not been involved in the implementation and even mapping. Like now, CEFA is a project that is supporting businesses that suffered because of COVID. We've never had public participation about it. We only see occasionally people have been awarded to do monitoring and evaluation, but we have never had a public participation and even being given an opportunity to present our cases that we suffered from COVID. So we would like further discussion on this, and I think the business community is better placed to map the beneficiaries and also ensure that the money is used for the intended purpose. We also would like it to be disbursed using the format of Nyota. Si tumeona watu wanaitiwa pesa mingi sana huko Kasarani. Si hata sisi wafanye biashara tuitwe tupatiwe machecks zetu za SEFA. Si ndio? Na NAF-CDP, because sisi wote tumejiandikisha kwa NAF-CDP. Kwa hivyo mtupange hivyo, president akuje atuwekee kwa M-Pesa. So imfikie, si ndio? Ifikie waziri, ifikie rais. Vile vijana wamepata Nyota, hata sisi tupate ya SEFA na NAF-CDP. Ai, simpige makofi. And this applies to all of us who are seated here. Sisi tunafanya biashara dogo dogo. Tusiachwe nje. Kwa hiyo listi yako waziri utupange. Tuende Kasarani tupatiwe hiyo kakitu na mtukufu rais. The fourth one is on gender-based violence. We are happy. We participated in the public participation for the task force, and we saw 3 days ago Nancy Baraza presented it to the president, and one of the recommendations was allocation of a fund. We have already a structured way of engaging, chaired by the county commissioner. So our recommendation for Kiambu is that a fund is allocated, and we will sit with the GBV working group so that we itemize what should be in the fund, including what has been suggested about the rehabilitation center and also safe houses. A lot of gender-based violence happen because people don't have a safe space to run to. So, as has been recommended in that report, funding and a budget line that looks at addressing GBV will be really appreciated by us. We have an information. The county government is in the process of establishing the Kiambu County Investment Corporation. Last week we participated in public participation about establishing it. So our request to the National Treasury is that you set up offices for Kenya Development Corporation, Can Invest, and also Privatization Authority to be hosted in this new corporation that has been established by the county government. And board members should come from sisi, si ndio? Tuingie kwa hizo maboards, eh? Bona mwongei loudly. Yeah, so we will do a follow-up once we finish with the county assembly, the public participation, so that at least that institution is localized here. So that we also have, the way Musea is very vibrant and functional here, then KDC Can Invest and the Privatization Authority can have a presence in the county. That is on budget. On the private, no, you know I'm from Murima. Privatization. Gaifafa. Here. What we would like is just the best value for money. We are not going to oppose, because I think Safaricom pipeline, there has been serious consideration that has been put in place. So just ensure we have best value for money, ensure that there is sensitivity to local ownership. We wouldn't want to hear that we are reporting to Uganda, because Ugandans have bought the majority of wherever. I think it should be in law that at least 30% minimum should be retained locally. We are also requesting for sensitivity to special interest groups. Those are women, youth, and persons with disability. A transparent model of utilizing the proceeds from the sale of the private, the public institutions. And we also suggesting that you further amend the regulations for PPP so that local PPP arrangements are mainstreamed in the law. Currently, it favors huge enterprises and would like the micro and small enterprises authorities to participate in the partnership, including access to resources like financing. This, we believe, will bridge the gap between the rich tenderpreneurs and wafanyi biashara wadogo kama sisi. Amen? So we are also offering ourselves to protect public assets, like the roadside assets owned by Kenha. We are offering ourselves to do businesses that are organized there so that land grabbing can be checked. We also have a problem, Waziri, in Githurai. That's where I come from. We have a market, 800 million worth, that for the last 4 years has never been utilized because I think there was a problem with the design, and there's also a problem with the engagement of the community, government, and among themselves. So we need, if it cannot serve as a market, then it can be converted to even accommodate children. Because in Githurai, there's a primary school that sits on half an acre, and it has 5,000 students. So we were talking with the DCC, and we are like, probably it can be reviewed so that it accommodates students. It becomes a school or something like that. Finally, to KIST and all of us who are here, we are proposing that if the National Treasury can finance the establishment of a multi-sectoral, multi-stakeholder innovation center or business development, a hub here, where us from the Chamber of Commerce can be able to showcase the opportunities we have. We can be able to train young people on business skills, financial literacy, and just mobilize investments in an organized way. And Mr. Waitito here is just smiling because it's going to change how we do business in Kiambu and in Kenya. Thank you very much.
That was very comprehensive from Dr. Let's clap for her again. Thank you. Finally, let me welcome Mr. James Mugwe, also a representative of business community. Tumpigie makofi.
Thank you. I'm not much of a public speaker, so excuse me. CS, my friend and classmate, Wanabani, all protocols observed. I just like to add a bit on what Dr. Juliet said. But my name is James Mugwe. I'm a business person. I'm a consultant in business management. And I also head the sector in education, training, and partnerships at the Chamber of Commerce in Kiambu. So just a few points, Mr. CS, is you realize that all of us are business people. I think even the students see it as much. Whether you are a CS, a principal, and all, what we've observed in the chamber is that everybody requires business training, everyone. And our proposal from the chamber is that we include business training and financial literacy in all post-secondary school education courses, all of them. So if it could be worth your while, CS, please consider that. The other item is we realize also that there are so many projects that go on in this country. NGOs, departments, ministries sourcing funds from international bodies. So when we walk around ourselves as leaders, you're always finding projects. There's a project of this, a project of Danida, there's a project of WHO. I don't know how, but all of us are the Wanjiku that are receiving this training. I can assure you, most of these business people here can tell you, oftentimes, they're always called for business management training, financial literacy, digitization, report making, same things. I don't know how this can be worth, because you realize that individuals probably, one individual receives maybe 100,000 even worth of training in 1 year. The same amount again the following year. It's not helping our society at all. So if there can be a way that nationally these projects can be put together in such a way that when we receive this funding or receive this training, this knowledge, it comes in a centralized manner so that we can all gain and progress. Because we seem to be mark timing, even as business people. The other item is, we realize is a bit of lack of goodwill in actualizing projects within, especially government institutions. You realize in many institutions, or even government-funded or foreign-funded projects, like the road we are talking about. So we always know this is coming, this is coming, this is coming. Oftentimes you find that money has been allocated, so that means the money is seated somewhere. But you wonder, why isn't it moving? Why isn't it helping the business people? Why isn't it helping the population, the students, the potential recipient? So if there can be a way that this can be fast-tracked, such that projects that are known, they are funded and they are supported, they can be actualized. The other item I'd like to observe is
there's a discussion around whether businesses themselves, when they get licensed, they be in a group, they be like in the Chamber of Commerce. One of the challenges we have in business representation is business people not being members of groups. And we realize sometimes that is not done voluntarily, or it is not favorable at the point of inception. But if there's a way, and I'll ask this even with the local government, there's a way businesses, when they're being licensed, also become part of maybe the Chamber of Commerce automatically, so that they do not have to go to another step for them to join a business support group. It doesn't have to be something that they choose to do. It's something that they automatically are at. So for me, I'll just like to stop there, because my colleague has talked quite a bit about the other issues. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. James. Finally, let me welcome representative of persons with disability. That is Joseph Kuyangugi. Tumpigie makofi akija. Thank you.
Waziri Bandi, thank you so much for this opportunity. All protocols observed. My name is Joseph Kuyangugi, person with disability, physical disability. Professionally, I'm a trained pianist. And I think your Honorable Badi, we've met somewhere when I'm playing, and I'll tell you when we finish this. Yes, I'm a professional pianist. Now, in as much as I'm a professional pianist, I'm as well a disability rights advocate and a facilitator. And for that, if you have listened to all the voices that have spoken here, only one speaker addressed the issues of persons with disability. And he only mentioned that while he was mentioning there, the other groups, the women, the youth, and now she mentioned the persons with disability, Dr. Juliet. Thank you for that. Now, and for that, maybe I would like to advocate right now. When you are speaking for your group, kindly remember there is a person with disability within that. If it's a youth, there is a person with disability somewhere. If there is a woman, there is a person with disability there somewhere. So my points will be very few, Honorable Badi, and I had addressed them, so I'm going to read what I had prepared. So on disability budget issue in terms of 2025-2026, we'd like to have a disability budget tagging. That is, we are speaking so much on disability issues, but we are not funding them very well. Last year, the National Council for Persons with Disability budget was cut by almost 30%. That greatly affects persons with disability. In the last, I think, 5 years, the persons with disability in the cash transfer program have never been added. Yet they are still there, they have never been captured. Some have been captured, but they have never been, they have never come to, made to be in that program. So the 2024-25 lacked clear tracking of PWD spending. So we kindly request the 2025-2026 that tag disability allocations across all ministries and counties, so that each ministry is responsible in reporting on what they have done on certain amount of money for persons with disabilities. 2, restore National Council for Persons with Disability funding, because disability funds were inadequate and eroded by inflation. So 2025-2026, we request for a ring fence and restore the National Council for Persons with Disabilities and Assistive Devices budgets. Number 3, clear pending bills to persons with disabilities. Yesterday I was speaking to a friend of mine who is still owed by a ministry quite a large chunk of money, and that has made him not move. He has resorted to borrowing to make his life, have a continuity. So persons with disabilities were hit hardest by unpaid bills. So for this particular year, kindly classify pending bills as domestic debt and fast track that for persons with disability payments. Number 4 on Agapo, move from access to capacity. Move from access to capacity. Registration without financing has failed persons with disabilities. We are just registering, and there is no financial backup to that. 2025, we request that create Agapo Working Capital Fund. I know there are so many funds, but there is no single one, other than the one that is addressed by the National Council for Persons with Disability, that a person with disability can go there and say, kindly facilitate me for this. And so create a working capital fund and enforce the payments. On number 5, accessible public infrastructure. We still have issues of there are so many buildings that are coming up, but they are not accessible to persons with disabilities. Still, commercial buildings are coming up by private individuals. They are still not addressing the issue of accessibility. As I said earlier, I'm a disability rights advocate. And kindly, hata mimi ukiniweka mahali kwa ministry, I'll be able to advise on issues of that, to be able to press on some of these things that are hardly, making very hard for persons with disability to ensure that they have accessibility to some of these buildings. So for those many projects, they are ignoring the universal designs. So on this, on the public, on our suggestion on this is that no payment for public works without accessibility compliance. Number 6, on persons with disability employment in public service, 5% target still not met due to no budget excuses. 2025-2026, kindly the central budget for reasonable accommodation and assistive technology. On mental health and psychosocial disability, 2025 focused on 2024-2025 focused more on hospitals only. Kindly on 2025-2026, let's fund community mental health and substance abuse prevention. Number 8, digital and information accessibility. And on my last 2, government platforms exclude many persons with disabilities. Budget for accessible e-citizen, iTax, IFMIS, and easy-to-read content. County disability conditional grant. Counties lack predictable disability funding. So introduce kindly audited conditional grants for persons with disability inclusion. Persons with disabilities in privatization and PPEs, I think there is that exclusion. So persons with disability excluded from asset reforms. So kindly, in this budget, kindly we require disability impact assessments and PWD representation. My last 2, disability cash transfer are irregular, as I said earlier. And for my last one, tax compliance issues have been a thorn in the flesh for many. And I would like to say this for myself. I'm not a professional CPA person, but I owed KRA quite an amount of money. And when I addressed this with the commissioners, they said, because I'm unable to pay that debt. And I know this is a problem with so many persons with disability, because if you make when a person with disability or any other person makes 10 steps forward, that person with disability cannot make those 10 steps forward. He has to have made like 2 to be able to reach the other person, if you are getting what I'm trying to say. Other people are able to move faster than we are able to move faster. So on this, we have not been able to, like for myself, let me give an example. Due to this debt, it has made me not to be able to work because I lacked a tax compliance for the last 2.5 years, making it very difficult to do any kind of business. I believe tax compliance should not be a punishment. It should be something that can be able to allow anyone to be able to work. So let's not punish those who owe KRI. Let's instead make them be able to pay the debt slowly so that they're able to work. So for that, thank you so much.
Pigie Bwana Joseph makofi tena. Asante sana. Now, finally, on the stakeholding part, I will welcome representative of the youth through the chair of the National Students Budget Forum Committee, Bwana Solomon, to cap it off. And then we introduce National Treasury. Tumpigie makofi.
Thank you very much, Secretary General. To waziri, mjumbe wa area, principal wa humu, wageni waheshimiwa, bunge la wananchi, wamama wote, students, wageni waliokaribia, amjambo. Amjambo tena. Good evening. Thank you very much. Watu wangapi wamekaribisha waziri humu? Nione kwa mkono huko nyuma. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much. I am Solomon. I'm the chairman of National Students Budget Forum. And I have a team with me, a team of 5, which we have been working with closely from the National Treasury in coordination with the Interior also in doing these our events. So my team of 5, I'll just msimame tafadhali, at least you wave. That is Quinta, my vice chair. She's a very hard-working lady. Asante sana. The national coordinator huko ana coordinate mambo za ground. Yeye ndiye anasikiza ground ya Murima hapa. Hello. Ako huko nyuma. Asante sana. And then my lead secretary is somewhere anapanga moja mbili. Oh, ndo ule a short man is not a boy. Yes. Asante. And then finally my secretary general, who is the spokesperson of the association. Asante. So with me today, I have a little to say in regards to representing the youths also, because I'm a youth. I'm a viable youth. I'm in the age bracket of 18 to 35. Mi sio youth wa kujibandika. Comrades power. Comrades ria. Comrades ria. Asante. Wamama hai. Wamama muriega. Muriega. Muriega rege. Asanteni sana. So I don't have much to say. What I want to do is invite one youth on behalf of the youths who is Don to speak for them, and then I'll cap it off and sit down and give my Secretary General a chance. Don, karibu. Situmpigie makofi. Upata youth mwenye anakuwa recognized ni ngumu sana.
Thank you so much to the CS, all protocol observed. Comrades wananchi, hamjambo. I'm Don, the new FCPA in town. I want to be as brief as a cock on top of a hen. Comrades power! Comrades ria! Waziri, mine is just as short. I was part of the presidential committee. We worked on this new funding model. And I want to confirm to you that our views, our suggestions were implemented by the Ministry of Education. And today, I can confirm that at least the fee under this new funding model has reduced. And therefore, we have a hope in this committee as youth that even come 2025-2026 budget, that is the finance bill, things are going to be different, and we hope that the views of the common wanainchi from the NGOs to wanabiashara will be implemented. Now, Waziri, we understand that privatization of shares of Safaricom, there is how it's also linked direct to the e-procurement system. Maybe most of us, as the young who have done BCom and specialize in accounting and have been participating in this public participation when it comes to finances. We will also like at least you enlighten us as the youth and about this e-procurement, because some of us are of that idea of maybe starting a new business and so on, either to partner with the county level and maybe the national government. So that is my plea. Last but not least, I want to thank all the entire committee for the good work you are doing. And as comrades, as youth, we are saying we are supporting this government with all our body parts. Comrades, wisdom. Comrades, wisdom. No matter how small your buttocks are, they will always be divided into two. And for that reason, we are saying President Ruto, 2-term. Thank you so much.
Hiyo ni wisdom kutoka kwa Mwenyezi Mungu. Asanteni sana. Situpigie comrade makofi. Makofi ya comrade. Asanteni sana. Wazee mpo? Wazee mpo? Wazee mnibebe mkono jamani. Sijaona wazee. Naona. Asante sana. Business community. Business community. Asante. Ni nyinyi wa Muriega wangu. Asanteni sana. Mi nikitoka hapa lazima nikuwe mudhoniwa. Thank you very much. So, as the National Student Budget Forum, the main reason that tulikuja kwa waziri na waziri akatuchukua kwa mkono wake ili tufanye na yeye kazi is because we have had dissenting voices when the finance bill is always read. So the main problem that we are facing as a country was public participation. So we went to Waziri and talked to Waziri, and Waziri is someone who listened to youth, and we said that we want to traverse all the regions in Kenya so that we can do the public participation on the finance bill 2026-2027. Ndio wakati finance bill inasomwa kwa parliament, we know what is there and what is not there. Now, as youths, as people with disability, as wamama, as students, what is our contribution in 2026-2027 financial year budget? So it is about inclusion and incorporating our ideas ili tutembee pamoja wote ndo tuweze kujenga hii nchi pamoja, sivyo? Me coming to Kiambu, it's my first time in Kiambu Polytechnic. Haki ni kuzuri. Inakaa university. Situpigie principal makofi. Na mjumbe bana, wewe pia umefanya kazi. So coming here, this is a very good place. So how can we make even other places zikae hivi? Nikienda pale, nikiteremka tu hapo Narok, pia tuweze kukua na kitu kama hii. Nikiteremka hapa tu Kajiado, kuweze kukua na kitu kama hii. It is only if we come together, we share ideas na tuongezene mawaidha. Na pia we are benchmarking on the way. Thank you for that. And on privatization agenda, this is one thing that I want to finalize with. Unajua hii mambo ya privatization agenda venye ilianza, watu walisema tunauza Safaricom, sijui. No, it has been happening all those years. And the good news about this is that the government still have 37% of their shares in Safaricom. What the government is selling is 15% of their shares, which means we are still retaining our 20% shares in Safaricom. So these 15% shares, watu wangapi bado wanataka kuendelea kulipa ushuru? Mama mboga mko? Ama mko? Nyinyi wote mko na pesa, mnataka kulipa ushuru. So I understand there are people, we are tired as a country, as youths, as young people, kulipa ushuru. So if the government has found a way, an amicable way of addressing this by selling 15% shares of our shares in Safaricom, which will give them a whopping 204 billion kuendelea huko juu. That is a very big money that can help us in infrastructure. Ile mambo principle na ule chair wa shule alikuwa naomba ya footbridge wanaweza wekewa. Mahospitali tunaweza endelea kujengewa. The project that is going on in this school can happen, can be funded. Watu wa health can get money. Watu wa education, I know help imechelewa, si ndio? Ama mshapata help nyinyi nyote? Imechelewa. Lakini this can only be addressed if we have the money. So I really plead with Kenyans to support the government in this initiative. It is an initiative that is going to help Mama Mboga, it is going to help Tajiri, it is going to help a student, na it is going to help a bunge la wananchi veteran. So finally, nikimalizia, watu wa Central, mmetukaribisha tena ama tuende kama tumeenda? Mmetukaribisha tena turudi? Mmetukaribisha tena? Sasa tutarudi kuomba next time ama kwa public participation tena ingine. So sina mengi ya kusema. I was elected in this post also politically, na mimi pia bado ni mwanasiasa. Sasa mimi nasema tuendelee kusupport hii government yetu. Polepole mahali kuna shida tuna address tu polepole. Ikifika 2027 tunaona kama ilifanya kazi, tunaiongezea kura. Kama hii kufanya kazi, tunakaa chini tunasema hatukufanya hapa na hapa, lakini mtupe tena ndio tutafanya hizo zenye hatukufanya. Sina mengi ya kusema. Mungu abariki watu wa Central, na nitarudi hapa tena na tena. Asanteni.
Chair amesahau kitu moja, Bwana Solomon. Haujasema utakaporudi tutarudi kufanya nini haswa? Tuinue mikono hivi. Kiambu tuinue mikono. Asante sana. Hizi zote ni kura za William Samoei Ruto. Na tutakaporudi waziri atakuwa juu ya gari, haitakuwa kazi. Sasa hii tunafanya kazi. So tutarudi na track record, sio? Na ataeleza wananchi yale ambayo serikali imefanya, na basi mtupigie kura jamani. Tumklapie Bwana Solomon. Thank you. So finally, friends, Kiambu County, that which we have done is implementation of a very vague provision of the Constitution of Kenya. If you go through Article 10, read together with, I think, 201, under national values, Article 10, there is a provision known as public participation. And it is, as a law student, I'd say it's very vague, because there is no clear legal framework of how public participation should be done. Waziri can decide that he will sit with Lucy and the principal and talk to them and hear their views, and then present it as a report that I have fully implemented public participation of the next budget. And friends, that is very much legally allowed. But he has gone out of his way, a weekend, to come all the way here to listen to the people. What do we tell Waziri? Tumpigie makofi. So at this point, allow me to introduce the National Treasury. Waziri has worked with the DG, who will in turn introduce the others. Please let's all be upstanding as we welcome Lawrence Kibet. Tusimame tunaweza keti tu, sawa. Pole. Karibu.
Asante sana. Mgeni wetu wa heshima siku ya leo, waziri wa fedha, Mheshimiwa John Mbadi. Mheshimiwa wa eneo hili, Mheshimiwa John Waithaka Mashua, na sisi wote ambao tumeweza kufika hapa siku ya leo. Ningependa kuwasalimia katika jina la Yesu. Amjambo. Amjambo tena. Asanteni sana. Mimi nina shukrani sana kwa kukua hapa siku ya leo. Waziri Mbadi alipokuja kule kwa wizara, ameleta mabadiliko mengi sana. Sisi wengine kama mimi hatujazoea kuweza kuanikwa na kuwekwa mbele ya wananchi, kuweza kujumuika na kuweza kuulizwa maswali magumu ikiwa mnaonana hana kwa hana. Sisi tulikuwa tumezoea kukaa kwa boardroom, tunaandika na kompyuta, tukimaliza tunapatia waziri anaenda kusoma. Waziri Mbadi ameweza kuleta mabadiliko makubwa sana kwa chinzi ambao tunafanya kazi, chinzi ambao lazima tuweze kuwajibika kwa wananchi wa Kenya. Kwamba huwezi tu kuleta bajeti ambayo unaenda unakaa juu ya orofa ya 14 kuitengeneza na kusema ndio hii itekelezwe. Kwamba lazima uweze kusikia matakwa ya wananchi, uweze kusikia maelekezo yao, na ile bajeti itengenezwe ikiwa na maneno ya wananchi pamoja vile katiba imeweza kuwapa hawa hiyo uwezo. Na hivyo kuona hiyo, sisi tumeona hizo mabadiliko mengi sana. Akifika kule kwa wizara, marekebisho ya kwanza, mwenzetu ameweza kuongea kuhusu ile pesa ya wazee ama ile pesa ya ndugu zetu wale wanahitaji usaidizi, na ilikuwa inachelewa kulipwa. Na alipofika akasema yule ambaye ako na mshahara, ambaye anapata mshahara wake wa kila siku, anaweza kungoja. Anzeni kwanza kwa kulipa hiyo ya wazee na mwanze kulipa pesa ya wale ambao walishafanyia kazi serikali na kaweza kustahafu. So anzia hawa kabla hujalipa wale wako kwa kazi leo. Hiyo ilikuwa mambo moja ambayo ilibadileta mabadiliko kubwa sana. Tumeona mabadiliko mengi, nyinyi mumesikia, ataongelea hayo yengine. So amenipa tu ruhusa kusema tu maneno machache sana. Na ya kwanza ni kuongea kuhusu maneno ya utoaji ya hisa kwa umma, ambaye watu wengi wanapenda kuita privatization. Na tumeweza kuona vile hata watu wetu wengi, dada yangu Lucy hapa, tumeona maswali ambayo yameweza kuibuka kupitia hiyo jambo, na tuko hapa kuweza kueleza kwa nini hii. Ya kwanza ni kusema wananchi wa Kenya walienda kupiga kura ama kwa uchaguzi mwaka 2022. Na kwa kupiga kura, mambo kubwa, jukumu kubwa ambayo ilipatia serikali hii ni kuweza, ama serikali hii iliweza kueleza watu wataweza kuifanya kwa sababu ya mambo ya uchumi vile ilikuwa siku hiyo. Na sisi wote tunaweza kuelewa mali uchumi ya Kenya imetoka tangu mwaka wa 22 mpaka leo. So kwa kuangalia hiyo, kitu ya kwanza ilikuwa uchumi yetu kwa miaka mingi tumeweza kuipata yale shocks, ama ile unaweza kuita si msisimuko lakini inaitwa nini? Changamoto mbalimbali. So kupitia hizo changamoto, serikali ikaona lazima itafute namna ya kuitafiti hii uchumi. So na kuweza kuelekeza uchumi kwa njia ile ambayo inawezekana, lazima ungefanya mambo kadha wa kadha ili uweze kufanya mambo hiyo. Na ya pili ni kwamba pesa ambayo serikali inaweza kuitumia kwa maendeleo inaendelea kupungua kwa sababu ya madeni ambayo lazima ilipwe. Na ya mwisho ni hii kitendawili ambayo waziri ama wale watu wengine ambao wanaelewa mambo ya uchumi wakiongea kuhusu uchumi ya Kenya watasema imekuwa kwa 5%, 7%, namna hiyo. Lakini inakuwa kitendawili kwa sababu utaweza kusema uchumi imeimarika kwa 5%. Lakini ukienda kwa wananchi wenyewe, waulize uchumi wetu ulimarika mwaka jana kwa 5%. Unakubaliana na hayo? Wengi watasema nini? Watakubaliana? Wengi watakubaliana. Kwa sababu unaweza kukua na uchumi ambaye inakuwa, lakini haina ile usawishaji. So lazima pia uchumi ikikua iwe, lakini iwe pia na namna ya kusawazisha ama kuweza kupeleka ukuzi huo kwa kila mtu ama kwa kila jamii. So ukienda kwa hii toleo la hisa kwa wananchi, vile inafanyika sasa kwa kampuni kama hii kampuni ya kusafirisha mafuta ama ukipenda Kenya Pipeline, kutoa hisa kwa umma kwa kampuni kama hiyo ni kwa sababu ukiweza kuangalia yale mambo ambayo serikali itahitajika kufanya, itakuwa mengi. Atahitaji kupeleka watoto shule. Wale wamekuwa hapa wameongea kuhusu capitation, wameongea kuhusu mshahara ya wale wafanyakazi ya serikali. So kukiwa na ile pressure ya pesa ama kukiwa na ukosefu wa pesa, utaanza kulipa gani? Utaanza kulipa mshahara, utaanza kulipa capitation ya kwenda shule na hayo mambo mengine. Lakini pia usipoweza kuweka pesa, kuweza kuweka kwa kampuni kama Kenya Pipeline, uweze kuongeza ile uwezo wao ya kusafirisha mafuta, ama uweze kuongeza pipes zingine mpya, uweze kufanya biashara ya hali ya juu. Sasa mwisho tutaweza kukua tu na hii kampuni, lakini itaenda kuanguka. So kwa hivyo lazima ungeipatia hii kampuni nafasi ya kuweza kujisimamia yenyewe bila serikali. Vile serikali imefanya hapo mbeleni kwa mali kama ukiangalia kampuni ya kutoa umeme ile inaitwa KenGen, ambaye wakati wa Mwai Kibaki ilipelekwa kwa soko huru ya hisa Nairobi Stock Exchange mwaka wa 2006. Ni kama hii tu ya pipeline vile inapelekwa sasa. Ilipopelekwa huko ilikuwa inatoa umeme ya karibu 1900. Ilikuwa inatoa 900, lakini leo tukiongea inatoa 2000 na karibu 2300. Imeongezeka mara 3. Na hiyo pesa yote imeweza kuiokota kwa soko huru ya hisa kule Nairobi Stock Exchange, bila kukuja kwa serikali na kusema tunahitaji hela kuweza kufanya ongezeko la biashara zaidi. Na hiyo ndio ulikuwa lazima sasa serikali ingefika wakati ya kusema lazima pia tukifanya hii mambo ingine ya shule, tukifanya hii mambo ingine ya barabara, tukifanya hii mambo ingine yote ambaye inainua jamii, lazima pia kuweza kuweka manufaa kwa kampuni kubwa kama hizi. Na utaweza tu kama utapeleka kwa ile soko huru kama hiyo ambaye itajisimamia yenyewe bila kuhitaji usaidizi wa serikali. So hiyo ndio sababu ya kupeleka hiyo kampuni iende kule kwa soko huru. Na ikifika huko kwa soko huru, kila mtu anaruhusa ama ana nafasi ya kuweza pia kukua mwenye hisa ya hiyo kampuni. Ile hisa ambayo inauzwa minimum ama ile kiasi ya chini ni 100 na bei ni 9. So hiyo inakuwa ngapi? Ukiwa na shilingi 900 unakuwa mwenye hisa ya hiyo kampuni. Unakuwa mojawapo wa wale ambao wanamiliki hiyo kampuni. Ukiwa na 900, hata ile mtu wako huko Baringo mahali mimi nimetoka, ukienda kibarua ya siku 4 itakuwezesha uwe na nafasi kama hiyo. So hivyo basi hata kwa kufikiria kwa kufanya mambo kama hii, serikali bado inafuatilia mpangilio hule ambaye waliweka ya kusema bottom up economic model. In every decision that you have to make, you have to do it based on that model of bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Ya pili, kujibu dada yangu Lucy, ameongea kuhusu utoaji wa hisa zingine kwa hii kampuni ya Safaricom. So kukueleza Lucy, serikali haibinafsishi Safaricom. Tayari kampuni ya Safaricom tukiongea hivi leo ni kampuni ya binafsi. Kampuni ya serikali ni mahali serikali ina 50% na kwenda mbele. Lakini kwa kampuni ya Safaricom hata tukiongea hivi leo ni kampuni ya binafsi ambaye serikali ina 35%. Yule ambaye ana asilimia kubwa kwa kampuni hiyo ni hiyo kampuni inaitwa Vodacom, ambaye mwisho inamilikiwa na kampuni inaitwa Vodafone. Hao ni waanzilishi wa kampuni hii ya Safaricom, na waliingia kwa hii kampuni tangu mwaka wa 1998, 1998. Na hao ndio wamekuja tu si kwa sababu ya kukua na pesa peke yake, lakini pia wamekuwa na ile uwezo ya kuendesha kampuni kama hiyo, ambaye wameleta ile technology transfer kutoka Uingereza wakikuja hapa. So wameweza kuiendesha hii kampuni vizuri as the technology partners, not just bringing financial ability but also technology capacity. So kwa sababu ni watu ambao wanaelewa ustawishaji wa kampuni ya rununu kama Safaricom, wameweza kuipeleka hii kampuni. Unaweza kuona ilitoka 1998 Telcom Kenya na Safaricom. Telcom Kenya ilikuwa kampuni kubwa kuliko Safaricom. Safaricom ilikuwa tu kwa kona fulani ikitolewa. In fact hata wafanyikazi siku hiyo ulikuwa wale waokuwa wanaweza kazi, wale walikuwa karibu wanaendelea kufutwa ndio walipelekwa Safaricom. Wale wengine wote waliafadhalisha kubaki kwa Telcom. Miaka kama 25 kufikia mahali tuko leo. Angalia Telcom mahali iko, angalia Safaricom mahali iko. Kuna vile unaweza kulinganisha? Kunao. Kwa sababu ya hiyo namna ya kuhakikisha kwamba ukipeleka kitu kwa soko, kwa sababu lazima uweze kuistamili misukosuko katika kwa soko, lazima uweze kutoa bidhaa zako kwa bei ya chini zaidi, na uweze pia kuweza kuchunga wale customers wako kwa njia ya juu zaidi. Na mmeweza kuona hii uendeshaji ya Safaricom, wale wanaendesha hiyo Safaricom au Vodacom wakaleta pia mbinu zingine tofauti. Wakaleta kitu inaitwa Safaricom Foundation, ambao wamejenga mashule, wamejenga hospitali kule kote. So wakati serikali iliamua kwamba watatoa sehemu kidogo ya hiyo isa kutoka 35 mpaka 20 kwa kutoa sehemu ya 15 iweze kutolewa kwa umma. Ya kwanza ungeweza kutoa kwa ile soko ya stock exchange, lakini tayari ile isa siko kwa stock exchange ni tayari 25 kwota ya ile shares ambayo ina trade. Na sisi wote tunakumbuka mali hata hiyo isa ilianzia wakati ilipelekwa kwa soko huru, kwamba bei ilikuwa $5 na ikaweza kushuka. So badala ya kuipeleka na kuharibu hiyo investment ya wale walikuwa wameweza kuwekeza pesa zao pale, na lazima ungeitoa kwa bei ya chini. Ukiangalia isa ambazo utaweza kuileta kwa wingi zaidi kwa soko, lazima uweke kitu inaitwa discount, uweze kuisusha bei ndio uweze kuuza. So kwa leo hiyo isa ya Safaricom inauzwa kwa shilingi 28 kwa soko. Ukiongeza zingine sasa ya bilioni 6, labda ingebidi tuuze kwa huko kama shilingi 15. Lakini ukumbuke kwamba serikali inafanya hii kwa sababu serikali inahitaji hela. Serikali inahitaji pesa ya kuweza kufanya kutekeleza mambo hizi zingine mingi. So kwa sababu ya hiyo, pia kitu kingine ambaye serikali haikuwa inataka kufanya, haikutaka pia uende kuleta mtu ambaye atakuja kufuruka vile hii kampuni imeenda ama imeendeshwa siku hizo zote mingi, kwamba iko na foundations ambayo imesaidia wa Kenya. Hii kampuni pia huwa inaangalia maneno ya vijana, inaangalia maneno ya wanawake pia kwa vile inafanya kazi yao. So ulikuwa pia lazima uweze kuihakikisha kwamba hii kampuni ibaki vile hiko kidesturi, inaelewa wa Kenya vile wanakaa, inaelewa matarajio yetu. So kwa sababu ya kuilinda hiyo, ikabidi uongee na hiyo watu waweze kuongeza kutupatia bei ya juu. Kitu ya kwanza wanakupatia bei ya juu kuliko ile iko kwa soko. Ndio maana iliuzwa badala ya shilingi 28 ile iko kwa soko inauzwa shilingi 34 juu ya ile iko kwa soko. Na baada ya hapo unapata mtu ambaye anaelewa biashara vizuri, hata kuja kusumbua wafanyikazi wa kampuni, hata kusumbua wafanyabiashara wale wanafanya kazi pale, hata sumbua kwa kutoa hizi foundation ambayo inaendelea pale. So hii ilipikwa mzasa kwa kina kuhakikisha kwamba ikishatekelezwa, inatekelezwa na inakuja kusaidia ama kutunufaisha kama Wakenya. Na hii pesa yote ambayo inawekwa baada ya kuitoa, utaipeleka sasa iende iwekwe kwa uwekezaji kwa mambo ile inaitwa infrastructure investment ya serikali. Ile kama airport ile watu wamepiga kelele siku ile. So but itatupatia uhuru sasa kama nchi kuweza kufanya mambo yetu bila utegemezi ya watu wengine, kutegemea deni ya wenyewe, kutegemea investors wa kutoka kule nje. So tutaweza kufanya hii sisi wenyewe. So mpaka hapo ningetaka tu kueleza kwamba hiyo ndio sababu ya sisi kufanya hiyo. Asanteni sana. So wacha niite mwenzangu aweze kusema moja kuhusu PPP, alafu aweze kupatia mheshimiwa aite waziri.
Asante sana mkurugenzi mwenza, mgeni wetu wa heshima ambaye pia ni waziri wa fedha na mipangilio ya kiekonomia, mbunge wa eneo hili John Mashua, mwalimu mkuu katika shule hili Bwana Samui Waititu, mkurugenzi mwenza Bwana Lawrence Kibet, wananchi wa Kiambu, mabinti na mabwana, hamjamboni. Hamjamboni tena. Kwa kuwa mwenzangu ameweza kunipatia changamoto, sikujua ningeweza kuzungumza kwa Kiswahili. Na kwa vile amenena kwa Kiswahili, pia mimi nitafuata huo mtindo. Kwa majina naitwa Mhandisi Kefa Seda. Nafanya kazi pale katika Wizara ya Fedha kama mkurugenzi ambaye anasimamia mambo ya ushirikiano wa umma na sekta ya kibinafsi kwa minajili ya kufadhili miradi za serikali. Na natumai kwamba serikali imefanya jambo la busara. Hapo awali serikali ilikuwa inaketi chini kivyake, inaunda mipangilio yake, inatengeneza sera zake, dakika za mwisho mnasikia bajeti ndio hiyo. Laws ndio hizo zinapitishwa. Lakini kwa sasa mambo imeweza kubadilika. Tuko hapa tukiongozwa na nahodha wetu, tuko mashinani, tunaweza kuhamasisha umma kuweza kujua mipangilio ipi serikali inayo, sio? Pia nyinyi muweze kuchangia katika hizo mipangilio, sio? Sasa leo tunapiga gumzo kuhusiana na mambo ya bajeti na ubinafsaji wa mashirika ya kiserikali, sio? Sio? Sisi wote tunafahamu zile changamoto ambazo tuko nazo kwa bajeti. Tuko na bajeti, tukizingatia bajeti ya mwaka uliopita ama mwaka huu wa 2025-2026. Bajeti yetu ilikuwa ni trilioni ngapi? 4.3. Ukitazamia mapato ilikuwa ni trilioni 3.4. Inamaanisha tulikuwa na upungufu wa karibu trilioni 1. Na hiyo trilioni 1 lazima serikali itafute namna ya kufadhili zile miradi ambazo ziliweza kupangiliwa. Ndio maana tunasema lazima kama serikali tutafute mbinu mbadala ya kutekeleza miradi zetu. Kwanza tuweze kuhamasisha juu ya bajeti, muweze kuelewa nini kitakuwa pale ndani. Besides bajeti, tuanze kuambia ni mipangilio ipi ambazo tunazo kama serikali. Mojawapo ya mipangilio ambazo tunazo ni ile ya kubinafsisha mashirika ya kiserikali. Na lengo letu si kutazamia tu ile mapato ambayo tutaweza kupata ili tuweze kuendelesha mipangilio ya kiserikali. Sisi pia tunataka huduma bora, sio? Tukipatia wale wawekezaji wale wa sekta ya kibinafsi, they are well known for the efficiencies that they bring in government. And so besides unlocking capital in these institutions, we are also focusing on efficiencies that the private sector will bring on board for us to do what? To improve on our service delivery. Besides privatization, tuko na ile sasa ushirikiano wa umma na sekta ya kibinafsi ili kufadhili miradi za serikali, ambayo kwa lugha ya kimombo tunaita public private partnerships. Na pale ndio mimi nahudumu. Niliweza kumsikiza vizuri Daktari Kimeme akinena kwamba ile sheria ambayo inazingatia local content tuiweze kuipiga msasa na tujue vile tutaweza kuwajumuisha wale wawekezaji wa humu nchini. Tayari ukiangalia section 83 ya hiyo sheria inazungumzia mambo ya local content. So that's a starting point. And I would like to call upon us, when you hear about public-private partnerships, last year, Rais aliweza kuanzisha ule mradi wa Nairobi Nakuru Summit. Sinapitia Kiambu. Inaanzia pale Kamandura, inaenda mpaka pale Soko Mjinga, inaingia Nyahururu County kidogo, tena alafu inateremka inaingia Nakuru County. Sisi nyinyi kama pia najua kuna wawekezaji katikati yenu. Mkisikia kama kuna miradi kama ile, pia nyinyi mnapiga hodi, sio? Mnakuja kwetu, mnakuja National Treasury, mnaenda pale kwa Kena, mnasema mko na hii. Katika sheria kuna sehemu yenu ya local content, pia nyinyi mpatiwe share yenu, sio? Sawa? So mnasikia kuna miradi zingine pia mingi pia zinakuja. Katika zile miradi ambazo tunazo ambazo zinakuja huku ambayo inafadhiliwa na World Bank, kuna ile program inaitwa Climate Resilient Infrastructure. That's a PPP project that we're trying to pilot in 13 counties. Mojawapo ya hizo counties ni Kiambu County. Tumeweza kuwasiliana na serikali ya Kiambu. I hope they've disseminated this information so that you can also participate in the kind of projects that we're going to implement. And they are cross-cutting, from water to energy to road infrastructure and to other form of infrastructures within the county. And therefore, I call upon us to support government. It is a noble cause for us to come in and sit with you, to dialogue, feedback, hear what you have, then we feedback on the different levels of instruments that the government is preparing. And with that, it is my humble duty to now invite the Member of Parliament, who will in turn invite our Cabinet Secretary. Asanteni sana.
Haya. Kiambu mko? Sasa nataka msema kweli. Ule ambaye nyinyi lazima mumuulize maswali. Mumsikize, mumuulize maswali. Huyo ndio guest wetu wa leo. Kwa hivyo ningependa sisi wote tusimame, tumwelcome CS wetu wa Finance, CS John Badi. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. Let's have our seats. Kaeni. Asante sana mama. To the honor of the institution, the prefect here, Mr. Waititu, asante sana. My brother, colleague, member of parliament for this area, John Waithaka, representatives from the University Students Association, esteemed student team members, members of the business community. I know we have members of the Bunge la Wananchi, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Is it afternoon or evening? It's already evening. Kiambu oi! Comrades, power! Bunge la Wananchi, power! Asanteni sana. I'm happy my two DGs have already spoken in Kiswahili. Na mmeelewa vile wameongea. Sasa mimi sita attempt. Hiyo njia sitatembea hiyo barabara. Nitatembea hii barabara ingine, because what I'm going to say in English is what they said in Kiswahili. In summary, thank you very much, my Director Generals. So let me start by giving my official speech first, then nitaguzia kidogo off the cuff, alafu tutamalizia hapo. Na kama mko na maswali 2 ama 3 mtauliza na nitarudi kujibu. It is a privilege to welcome you to this pivotal gathering, an occasion that embodies our collective commitment to shaping Kenya's future through transparent, inclusive, and responsible fiscal governance. I made a promise to the people of Kenya when I was appointed to this position that I'm going to open up the National Treasury for public scrutiny and engagement. I said it will be a thing of the past where National Treasury is known for the Minister of CS sitting at the 14th floor or on the 14th floor, and always it catches you by surprise when we carry those briefcases every June to read what is called the budget speech. In fact, zamani hata ilikuwa mbaya zaidi because everybody was expecting something. Yeah? That the budget is coming. People were hoarding sugar, being hoarded, mafuta, because you don't know what was going to happen the next day. If prices were increased immediately, the prices shoot that midnight. But if they were lowered, the business people are still clearing stock. Is that not the way it used to work? Things have changed. And with the 2010 Constitution, the power has been given back to the people. So apart from the fact that people's representatives like my friend here, John, are the ones who are now actually making the budget, ours is called budget proposals. The minister gives budget proposal, but the actual people, the people who make the budget is the National Assembly. But that should be after listening to the people. But I've decided to take an earlier initiative to engage you way before we make the budget proposal so that we can listen to wananchi, tusikize ground, vile ground inasema, ya ukweli. Kusikiza ground ya ukweli. Nafikiri ndio hii. So this marks a deliberate effort, as I've mentioned, by the National Treasury to expand its engagement with the citizenry, particularly the youth. And I will explain why the youth becomes critical. Civil society and the local business community in the management of our public resources. Without the business community, there is no economy. How many people are from the business community in the room? You are the life support system of any economy, of this country. I wish to remind us that this is not just a policy initiative, but rather a legal obligation anchored in Article 201A of the Constitution of Kenya, which mandates for public participation in all financial matters to ensure transparency, accountability, efficient utilization of resources and value for money in the management of public resources. So this process builds up from the inaugural meeting, which I held on 10th of December 2025 in Nairobi, where I launched the National Budget Students Fora with the sole purpose of embedding a youth-centric perspective into our national economic decision-making processes. During this launch, we committed to engage the youth of this country in their respective regions on matters pertaining to public financial management. Further, and to align with the recent privatization initiatives, it has been deemed necessary to broaden this engagement to also include the business community and bunge la wananchi for a more comprehensive stakeholder participation and transparency. We have broadened our public engagement away from the budgets to include privatization and divestiture. Now, because we included those, we felt that now our engagement should go beyond the youth, the civil society, and the students to include the business community and also bunge la wananchi as people's mouthpieces, or people who speak for the wananchi. And since this launch, we have held engagement meetings in various counties or various regions. We held an engagement in Kakamega for the Western Kenya region. We held an engagement in Migori for the Nyanza region. We held an engagement in Eldoret for the Rift Valley region. Today we are here for the Central region, and tomorrow I will be in Meru for the wider Eastern region, and then we will proceed to Garissa and conclude with Kilifi for the Coast region. So we have received very insightful feedback from the youth on the desired fiscal and macroeconomic policies, and also on the kind of goods and services that communities value. We have listened to various stakeholders, and we have received very insightful feedback from the participants. This has also provided us with an opportunity to highlight the trade-offs associated with allocating limited resources against the numerous competing needs. This indeed epitomizes the objective of this exercise, as citizens are better informed about policy choices amidst the constrained fiscal environment. We will all agree that our fiscal environment is constrained, and maybe I'll speak to that a while later. So, ladies and gentlemen, first I wish to reiterate that the youth represents over 75, or the youthful population, those who are below the age 34 years and below, represent over 75% of our population and hold immense potential to drive national economic development. Consequently, their voices, or the voices of the youth, must be central to how we plan and how we allocate our resources. This necessitates a shift in public financial management towards inclusive and participatory governance, where young citizens actively engage and participate in policy formulation and act as co-creators of government policies that shape service delivery. The youth must be co-creators of our policies and not participants or bystanders in the policy making. Over the recent past, the youth of our nation have expressed themselves with clarity and courage regarding the high cost of living, unemployment, and the need for transparent governance. I'm sure we still remember what happened in 2024. That was clearly the youth of this country expressing themselves, how fast they want the cost of living to come down. They also want employment. Our youth want transparent governance. They want those who are governing them to govern them transparently. The youth does not want wastage of public resources. The youth abhors corruption. They came out to fight signs and signals of corruption in our society. And we must hear them. So we hear you, and we acknowledge that these concerns are not only valid, but they are urgent. We must deal with them urgently. Otherwise, we will not have a society. So our goal is to move beyond just listening. We are committed to turning this frustration into meaningful and tangible progress. This forum, therefore, provides the perfect opportunity to provide us with feedback on the necessary actions from the government to address these challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya has adopted privatization as a strategic economic policy shift to promote efficiency in the economy by subjecting public services to market forces. And you will allow me to explain that later, or elaborate on that later. This shift aims to improve competitiveness, boost revenue generation, and support fiscal consolidation pathway by reducing government expenditure on inefficient state corporations and fostering market development through deepening Kenya's capital market. This engagement process is therefore timely in view of the intensified conversation regarding opportunities privatization offers in contributing to national development through revenue enhancements, containing public debt, and easing pressure on public expenditure. This will reduce the government's administrative burden by leveraging the market expertise of the private sector. So the National Treasury will, in this regard, continue with sound macroeconomic policies to enhance resilience and create a conducive environment for the private sector, including the local business communities. Ladies and gentlemen, again I want to reaffirm the government's recognition of the critical role the private sector plays, especially the local business communities. The role you play in driving Kenya's economic growth through revenue contribution and job creation. So under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the government is implementing measures to create favorable conditions for the growth and sustainability of private enterprises. To enhance these outcomes, I hereby call for closer collaboration between the government and the private sector to unlock growth opportunities, especially in sectors with high youth employment potential, like agriculture, macro, small and medium enterprises, housing sector, which has proved to be a very, today I'm telling you, those of us who have been engaging plumbers, electricians, to get a plumber today is very hard because of the housing program that is going on. If we could put more resources in housing, including crowding in the private sector in that space, then it is also a way of creating a lot of job opportunities, especially for those graduates who are coming from institutions such as this one. Healthcare is another area, and of course the digital economy and digital and creative economy. Now these sectors are not only engines of growth, but also platforms for innovation, entrepreneurship, and job creation for the youth. And I'm happy one of the speakers, I think is the lady, who spoke about entrepreneurship. I don't know whether it was you or another speaker. Entrepreneurship is the way to go. Entrepreneurship. So we must look for ways of supporting and promoting entrepreneurship. So this engagement, therefore, will provide a basis for this collaboration through sharing of ideas and proposals toward this objective. We'll therefore endeavor to have a robust collaboration with all stakeholders, including the youth, private sector representatives, experts, civil society organizations, volunteers, and local communities. By forging partnership and collaboration, the government will harness ideas, skills, and resources of diverse stakeholders to better deliver policies in a more transformative way. I was elated, actually, to have received a written memorandum outlining some practical measures through which we can enhance financial support for students in tertiary institutions. And just to give you an assurance and confidence that our engagement here is not an academic exercise. Even before we move or we progress further with the budget process, I will tell you that some of the feedback that we are getting from engaging with the student is already finding its way in our BPS and the budget for 2026-27. For example, because of the concerns that the students have raised regarding the funding, we have decided to propose an enhancement of higher education loans board from the current 41 billion to 58 billion in the next financial year. And also the scholarship program to benefit from an enhanced allocation from 16 billion to about 34 billion shillings. That means that those two budget lines is going to move from around 57 billion to 92 billion. And I think that is just a demonstration that we want to put more resources towards educating our youth and make education cheaper, even at that level. As we also look at the capitation, because even today's papers, and I'm sure you must have read in today's papers, the concern about capitation, that it is not adequate. And I agree that we have been underfunding our students in high schools. And that is something that we are also addressing, even with the constrained financial space that we have. We have noted the valuable feedback, which includes strengthening financial support for student funding, and that is what I'm explaining, financing, reforming students' loan, and one of the speakers spoke about it. We have reformed the way now we are funding our higher education learning from the way it used to be to now student-focused and even course-focused. Because training a medical student is not the same as training an accountant. It is definitely different. It's more expensive to train an engineer because of the demands. An accountant, I just need a book and a pen and some calculator. We used to use calculator. Maybe nowadays use, what do we call this thing? iPad or whatever. Laptop. But engineering, you need heavy machines. Medicine, you need a lot of practicals. You don't need any practical to know how to prepare a balance sheet or P&L. You just need a smart brain, and you will be there. So there is a difference on how we fund our students. And that now has been factored in. And we are establishing an emergency student support fund as well. The written memorandum that we received will be consolidated alongside the views from this regional fora for consideration during the preparation of the financial year 26-27 and the medium-term budget process. Further, we are also aware of the financial strains facing our public universities, which impact the quality of education and future prospects for our youth. Our strategy emphasizes increased funding, as I've mentioned, infrastructure development, and curricular reforms to equip students with skills relevant for the evolving job market, particularly in areas like artificial intelligence, data science, green technologies, and vocational trades. So during this process, we welcome positive critique of our public financial management systems and policies to shape the budget process. There is nothing wrong with faulting our policies. There is nothing wrong with questioning us. That is why we are in public offices. These offices we hold in trust for you. So therefore, you are perfectly in order to question me, even in the most, let me not call it uncouth, but in whichever way, method you use, because people are born differently. So just come natural and ask hard questions. And then that may help me, because I may be overlooking something. All right? But also, let us engage constructively. What I don't support is partisan thinking in an engagement like this, where you already come, even when you are wrong, you don't want to accept you are wrong because you have taken a position. Then that is not an engagement. So your active engagement in this process guarantees efficient and transparent use of public funds, ensuring that public resources achieve their intended objectives. I wish to urge for your concerted effort to enable us build a Kenya where opportunities are accessible to all, where youth are empowered to live, and where our collective aspirations become reality, including the marginalized among us and including the most disadvantaged among us, persons living with disabilities. And I'm sure together we can forge a prosperous, inclusive, and resilient nation. That is the end of my official speech. So, thank you for that. So allow me just to explain a couple of things. And as I've put it very clearly, we are engaging with you first to hear from the people. If you are keen, and I'm sure you are, you saw me taking notes. I have a book, and I'm not even trusting this with any of my staff. I'm doing it personally. Because when I write, I can easily remember, as opposed to what someone writes and gives me. So I'm taking notes diligently so that in these engagements, at least when I come back next year, there should be a proof that something that was said here was taken into consideration. It may not be all, but at least something. And Mheshimiwa, I want to agree with you that, yes, one of this road of Dumberi, Mutaiga roundabout road, it's very critical. Very, very critical. But the good news is that I think less than 2 weeks ago, maybe last week or the other week, I actually signed to approve for specially permitted procurement for that road. Specially procurement is a faster way of procuring. So I am very sure that that road, His Excellency the President will come to launch for its construction very, very soon. And that is because Kiambu, by the way, what you do on this road is not just helping Kiambu. Kiambu has become part of Nairobi. Kiambu has become part of Nairobi. And many of us live in Kiambu. I actually have lived in Kiambu now twice. My first house, when I got employed, was in Githurai 45, Kimbo. Githurai, Kimbo. So I lived in Kiambu, and then I recently, before I moved westward, I don't even know what I was going to do there anyway, but I was staying along this road, along Kiambu Road, up to 2018. So many of us live in Kiambu. Many of us are actually part of you, even when you think some of us come from Nyanza, Coast, or whatever. Kiambu is very, very important, and therefore we must have this road accessible. But let me now, I will address some question that has been asked here. But before that, allow me now to take you through some process here. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the reality. One of us said it, that in 2021-2022, IMF had predicted that 6 countries in Africa were going to default in debt repayment. Meaning, we were not going to be able to pay back our debts. Okay? I don't know how many of us understand what that means if we fail to pay our debts. If you fail to pay your debt, it means it is a failed economy. It's a collapsed economy. What will happen is IMF will come calling. They will tell you, okay, fine, you are part of the global world, we will help you, but on conditions. Number 1, you must cut your civil service by, say, 50%. So half of the chiefs to go home, half of the teachers to go home. I'm giving you an example of what they may decide on. And all civil servants, reduce the number of MPs, constituencies from 290 to 145. MCAs reduced from 1,400, maybe 700 and something. And reduce the salary of everybody, including the president, by 50%. Those are the conditions they would come with. Remember, there was this structural program during Mzee Moi's time. We had not even defaulted. We were just struggling as an economy. And for us to receive money from IMF and World Bank, one of the conditions was retrenchment. Take staff home. And the people you are taking home are people who have been paying school fees for our children. They are the ones who are feeding their families. And you are taking them home with sometimes peanuts. 2 months pay, 3 months pay in lieu, such like things. That is what was facing us. And let me tell you, 5 countries out of those 6 have defaulted. In the neighborhood here is Ethiopia. The other one was Ghana, Chad, Mozambique. They have defaulted. It's only Kenya which has not defaulted. It's only Kenya. I know many of us, we have been told that this government has done nothing, and we believe it. And there is nothing wrong with believing, because we can't think the same. By the way, if we always agree, if you find 2 people always agreeing, one of them is not thinking. Or both. If you are both thinking, there must be a point of departure. So there is nothing wrong with having a perception that this government has done nothing. But even as you have that perception, remember that this government saved us from that default. Hata kama wamefanya nothing, hiyo ni tick. Because we would not have economy today. You are talking of you being business people. How would you have done business in an economy that has collapsed? An economy where people are not earning a salary. An economy where everybody has been retrenched, they have gone home. So that is number 1. And remember My friends, that was at a time our inflation was almost hitting double digits, 9.6%. Remember, we moved to a point where even getting foreign exchange, if you are going to buy goods from outside this country, was not easy. If you went to the bank early 2024 to get dollars, if you were lucky, you'd get 20% of what you wanted. That happened if you're business people. I'm sure you must have seen that. If you are a child studying abroad, that was what was happening in this country in 2024, January, February. Because there was a debt that was coming for payment in June 2024, and there was no plan. The previous government did not prepare anything because they knew they were going away. The government that succeeded them also had problems because they had to pay salary, they have to do this. So the debt was coming for payment. Kenya does not know how to pay it. The shilling went to the dollar, 160, something we had never seen in this country. That is why this government, we decided that we must be proactive. And there is a debt, Eurobond, that was coming in 2027. We paid that last year, February. It is coming for payment in 2027, we paid it. There's another one coming up for payment in 2028, and it was huge. We decided to pay over 60% of it in September last year because we want to de-risk our economy. We don't want to gamble. If we were careless enough, we would say 2028 it is all. After all, it is after election. But we decided, no, we must be proactive. This economy, if it collapses, we are all in problem. Whether you are in government or you are outside. Whether you are in opposition or you are nobody. The economy does not discriminate. That now because you are in opposition, we will treat you kindly. Kama bei ya chakula imepanda, kila mtu. Hata kama ulipigia rais kura, ama hukumpigia, kama mimi. Sikumpigia. Nyinyi, majority here, najua mlipigia Ruto kura. Si ndio? Mimi nilipigia Raila. Lakini wacha niwaambie kitu. Hata mkisema tutatoa huyu, tutaweka huyu. Kama hakuna chakula, hata kama ni ndugu yako, hakuna faida. That is the plain truth. Unajua, I can just tell you the truth. You know, even if hata mkitutoa in 2027 niende nyumbani, si bado nitakula. Ama mnaona nitakufa na njaa? Nitakula. Nimefanya kazi kwa miaka 30 years. University, nikaenda nikafanya finance director, international organization. Nimekuwa mbunge 17 years. Sasa minister. Sasa hapo, kama bado nitaomba chakula, sasa hiyo ni makosa ya nani? Must I have a job? No. I don't have to have a job. But what I want is a progressive Kenya. Where my grandchildren, because my children have gone to school, where my grandchildren will be able to go to school at affordable school fees. That's what we need. Now, what I was explaining is this, ladies and gentlemen, I hope we are together. If you look at our economic situation, we are trying to manage the debt. But the worst decision we would take as a country is to manage debt and we continue piling more debts. Ni kama kuchimba shimo kufill another hole. 2, Kenyans have spoken. No more raising of taxes. Kenyans don't want us to increase more taxes because tumefika hapa. Hiyo ni ukweli. Tumefika wapi? Na taxes. And by the way, I am a student of taxation. If there is one topic that I understand and subject I understand, is taxation and tax laws. Actually, I was an A student when it came to taxation, public finance, and tax laws. In taxation, we are taught that there are 3 classes of economic activities: wealth, income, and trade. Good tax policy should target wealth. Wealthy people are to pay tax. Wealthy. Number 2, kama hujatosheka, then go for income. But the lowest, the least is trade. Don't tax trade. Wacha watu wafanye biashara, watengeneze pesa, ile profit wamepata, wa expand business. That is how to create employment opportunities. Because if you tax business, you tax trade, you overtax trade, where do people get money to expand their business to create employment? And if they don't expand business, they will not create employment. And you'll have so many people mugging people around because they don't have jobs. So, taxation is not an option. Debt is not an option. So what do we do as a country? And by the way, the whole world has shifted their attention. Long gone were years when the developed world used to come to Kenya to give us money. America and Russia, one time when Russia was still Russia, USSR, they used to compete to give developing countries money because they wanted to buy their support. Then came China, USA. Today, USA, America first. They are not thinking about you. If you are in this room and you still think there is any money that will come to America to help us provide services to you, you are daydreaming. China the same. If they give you money, they are doing their own business. Msifikiri wanatusaidia. We must start thinking internal. How do we raise our own money? How do we raise our own money for our infrastructure? The tax that we are getting is only enough to put in education, health, and social services. And it is not even enough. There is no money to do infrastructure unless we borrow. And borrowing is not an option. That is why one of the reasons for privatizing our assets is for us to be able to raise money and use that money to develop our assets and expand our economy. The economy is growing at 5%, but that cannot create employment opportunities for our youth. We have one of the fastest growing populations in the world. And that money that we are raising from Safaricom, from KPC, we must put it as a seed capital. If we use it in the budget in the normal way, it is like kuuza nyumba kukula, kununua chakula. Unauza nyumba, ununue chakula. Hiyo ni good investment. So we want this money to be used exclusively in doing projects that will spur economic growth. Infrastructure projects that are economically viable. That is what we want to do. And I know there are a lot of doubts because Kenyans have seen these efforts ending up in people's pockets, money being stolen. That is what you should now hold us accountable for. Don't tell us, msiuze. Kwanza, the government is not in the business of doing business. You know, I keep on saying this. Serikali is not supposed to do business. We are supposed to provide a platform for you and a conducive environment. Mufanye biashara, you give us taxes. If anything, hata ile kioskio yako, government owns 30% of it, if not more. We own 30% of all businesses in Kenya. So why do we again compete in business? Because you are paying us taxes. And sisi ndiye mnatulipa kwanza. Unatengeneza pesa hata kabla hujalipa mshahara, unapatia serikali pesa yake. So we don't need dividend. Hii kitu ya kusema ati KPC is giving us 4 billion dividend, hiyo ni upuzi. It is useless. Hiyo 4 billion, tutapata 4 billion for how many years to do Jomo Kenyatta International Airport? We want to dual thicker superhighway. It has become crowded, congested. Those who are staying in Thika, how many hours do they take to reach city center to do their business? So many hours. It's already crowded. Look at the road to Namanga. It's crowded. We must do all these roads. And people pay it all. Don't also get too used to Vitu Zabura. They are expensive in the long run. Munalipa toll, then we get the money to do other roads. That's what we want to do with Safaricom. We want to do with KPC. So that we free you. The middle class are complaining that they are taxed. We have sat with the president and we have agreed. Those salaried Kenyans, we have 3.5 million Kenyans earning salary. They are carrying the burden of almost everybody. It is not fair. Unakuta mtu ana earn 30,000, 35,000 ati analipa ushuru. Ya nini? We have decided I am taking proposal amendment to Bunge. If I'm not even waiting for finance bill. Anybody earning below 30,000 in this country should pay zero tax. Zero. You are earning survival salary. Hiyo si salary ya kusema. Ati serikali bado tunakuja kuchukua ushuru kwa 30,000. Someone earning 30,000. Na rent yako ni 10,000. Pesa unakula na bibi yako na watoto 10,000. School fees ni 10,000. Hata kuna pesa ya kutumia mama yako. In the village, transport ni 5,000. Then we are also coming for another 6,000, 7,000. Ati unalipa ushuru 30,000 and below, zero. And anyone earning below 50,000 in this country, we are going tunaenda kupunguza tax. And this the government has decided. We have sat down with the president and we have agreed. We want to give you something in your pocket so that you can spur demand in the economy. Because we have looked at the economy and we can see the economy choking. Because people don't have money in their pockets to buy from you people. Hakuna mtu ananunua mboga. Badala ya kununua mboga saizi hii, mtu anakuja kununua mboga 4 leaves. Anaongeza na maji. Because we have taken their tax. Money in the form of tax. Those who are earning low salary up to 50,000, we must give you a relief. And it is immediate. Sawa sawa. That is why we are saying let us think creatively, innovatively. Badala ya instead of going for the traditional ways of raising funds, mheshimiwa, we must now be creative. We must think strategic. Mimi, it doesn't matter even if I don't come back as Minister for Finance. But the period that I'm there, I must leave a mark. In fact, you know, if you are in an office and you stay in an office for 2-3 years, now talk and people cannot even remember you. Wewe ulikuwa bure kabisa kwa hiyo ofisi. People should remember you even if you have made a failed attempt. Hata kama hiyo experiment imeanguka, let people remember you as the Minister for Finance who attempted to do this with a disastrous result. Hiyo ni mbaya. Kuna makosa hapo? Wacha nimalizie. Wacha niangalie kama kuna vitu maswali mmeuliza which I have not addressed. So I am just telling you, ladies and gentlemen, that this effort we are taking, this strategy we are taking, please don't oppose it for the sake of it. the moment, you know, look at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Bwana Macharia. Just hiyo airport ukitumia unaona hiyo ni airport ya sifa kweli. You know, we are priding ourselves as the largest economy East and Central Africa. Number 6 in Africa. After South Africa, Egypt, Morocco, Nigeria, Morocco, and Algeria. Out of these 5 countries with bigger economy than Kenya, 3 are from the north. 1 south, another one western. Hapa hii dunia yote ya Central and East, sisi ndiye tunanguruma. We are the elephant, ama we are the Simba, we are the lion, roaring with no airport. Shame on us. We must do this airport. We must. We must look for resources to do this airport, my friends. Otherwise, we will lose our advantage as logistics hub of the region. People will move to a tiny country like Rwanda because there are better facilities. Some will go to Ethiopia, which we have just overtaken as the 6th largest economy in Africa. Why do you want to put Kenya subject us to such a shame? Just because we can't be bold enough. And by the way, those who are telling you, sijui tunauza, sijui tunauza, this KPC, Kenya Pipeline, government of President Kibaki identified it for divestiture, for privatization in 2009. Cabinet approved. Hii siasa ndogo ndogo duni hii, some suppliers thinking they will lose business, sijui some staff thinking they will lose jobs, is what has brought us to where we are. And let me ask you about this Safaricom. Munasema, hii Safaricom, see, we owned it 100%. Kwa nini leo ni 35%? Moi offloaded 40%. Mulipika kelele? Hata tulipata some peanuts. Kibaki came, offloaded 25%. Mulipika kelele? Kibaki offloaded Kenyan 30%, isn't it? Mulipika kelele? Na KCB? See, we used to own KCB 100%. Na Kenyari? Si ziliuzwa? Wacha tuseme zinauzwa. Tuseme tunauza Safaricom. Tunauza KPC. They were sold. Ziliuzwa. Na kwa nini saa hii ni kelele? We are releasing 15%. Kibaki released 25%. Kelele. Hii kelele ni ya nini? Because it is Mbadi. Na hiyo ingine ni Kimunya ndiye alifanya ama ni nani? Was it Kimunya or Merari? Kimunya. Kama Kimunya aliuza 25 na nikiuza 15. Uhuru hakuuza, unaona vile tuko na deni. Our debt rose from 1.6 trillion, now we are over 10 trillion. Kibaki left 1.8. Today ni over 10, 11 trillion. Because Uhuru feared to divest. Ati tumeweka ni kama souvenir. KPC. My friend, wachana ni yu puzi. Hizi vitu hata kama nitatafuta zingine. We will look for more of these public assets which have matured. And we release them. And we create a fund. I want to leave a fund. When I'm leaving this ministry, I want to leave a fund with trillions of shillings. So the people who are going to lead this country, I'm pleading with them. Let them make sure they retain me in this position until we have a fund with at least 3 trillion. Ndiye nitaondoka. A fund where now if we want to do our assets, tunaenda tunatoa hapo. Now, let me answer you. Those who are asking, are they going to be shareholders? I think ni wewe ndio uliuliza hiyo. Na huyu. Very sharp girl. My advisor. You said you want to be in the advisory board. Very sharp. Now, listen. First of all, we are going to make sure that the privatization of KPC is as diverse as we practically can. Anyone who will apply for shares in KPC must get, there must be a minimum that you must get. And by the way, from 900 shillings, you can be a shareholder. And we have made sure that Kenyans are given their pie. Secured. Number one. So we are divesting 65%. 35 bado serikali. I have retained that as the shareholder. 35. But he's 65. 65. You 65. 5% of the 65. Tunapatia employees of KPC. Those who have been working for KPC all these years. Then 15%, 15 is going for oil marketing companies, because oil marketers are the biggest stakeholders in KPC. That one is open to all oil marketers across, whether they are in Europe, whether they are wherever, they will apply, and our local ones. But 20% is for you and I. Individual Kenyans, not companies. Someone asked, the banks will buy all and leave us with nothing. There is one for individuals, you and I, mimi na wewe. But to protect you, because the money you may raise may be less than what I raise, we will first get equal allocation. Is when now we go for those who have more money, if shares are still there. So we start with the small people. They also get like any other person. Individuals, 20%. Then another 20%, institutional investors now. That is where now pension funds, NSSF, if they have money, they can put there. Yeah? Mutual trusts, like Old Mutual, Nini, they can put money there. Insurance companies can invest. So that is another 20%. Then 20%, we are giving the East African region. I've just come from Uganda this morning. I came actually direct here. Uganda, they want to invest in KPC. Because Uganda provides 32% of the market of KPC. Revenue of KPC, 32% comes from the Ugandan economy. That's not an economy you can ignore. And you know we are supplying 97% of fuel in Uganda. Only 3% comes from Tanzania. We want to control it 100%. But we are telling them, we are inviting them, they also become partners in this. So we are expanding. 20% we give the rest of East Africa. And then 20% to go to the rest in the world. So ukiongeza hiyo yote, you'll find that 20% is for local Kenyans, 20% of 65% is 13%. Then another 20% is for our companies, another 13%. That is 26. 26 plus 35 is already 70 what? Is already 61, isn't it? Percent. Oil marketers, majority will also be Kenyan. And then there's our staff, which is 5%, which is about 3, because it's 5% of 65%. So if you add all that, you find shareholding by Kenyans, including the government, will be about 70%. The company is still Kenyan by all standards. That is KPC. So, sijui kama have I addressed someone in the room? Let me move quickly, because give me just another 5 minutes, then I'll be done. So there are some which are actually advice, some are individual requests. Those ones I know how I'll get. My friend, you gave some individual requests. There was also a gentleman here who spoke. There's someone who said school fees yake 50,000 ilikuwa mahali. Ni wewe? Wewe utaniona nitakata hiyo bili yako by 50%. Yeah, so let me just conclude. This is the way I look at Kenya. There are things that we must do for this country. One, we must be bold and take decisions. Hii maneno ya kuogopa take decisions is wrong. Number two, we must love this country. We must love our country and put our country first. Let me tell you, there is no person who can survive in this country alone. There is no tribe which can survive in this country alone. We live here in Nairobi. If it is not for the community around here who supply us with food and people who travel from the other places, we cannot survive here. And I'm telling you, you may be giving the highest taxes in this country. But if we are not in Nairobi to provide you with market, hakuna mahali mtauzia hizo vitu zenyu. Hata ukilima waru kiasi gani utajiuzia? Utauzia watoto wako? Lazima mlete Nairobi na surrounding mtuuzie. Hiyo samaki yangu ya kutoka Lake Victoria siwezi kula peke yangu ama na watu wetu. Lazima zikuje hapa Nairobi. Na kwanza siku hizi nyinyi ndiye mnakula samaki hata kutoshinda. Let us just love each other and love our country. And criticize and critique objectively. And then let us condemn those who are putting tribalism ahead of everything else. You know, let me tell you, hata mimi, I would have really loved to be born in a Kikuyu. If anything, you people have better land here than us. You have better proximity to Nairobi. Mimi nimesumbuka kukuja hapa. You really suffer to reach Nairobi. And if anything, who would not want to come from a populous community? Lakini Mungu ndiye alichoose nizaliwe huko. And I'm sure some of you are also admiring the Luos. You'd have wanted to be a Luo. Because we also have some characteristics that are very unique. Even when I'm poor, you cannot tell. Ama namna gani? But Mungu aliamua uzaliwe hapa. It was not your choice. So why are you proud with something you did not contribute to? You have zero contribution. I am a Luo. So what? Did I decide to be a Luo? Was I even there when my mother and father were agreeing? I was not there. If they decided not to agree, I would not be there today, my friend. I should be very grateful for those two old people. But unfortunately, they are all gone, both of them. Because they have made me to be here. So, I don't know. Ni shetani gani saa zingine inaingia kwa fikra ya Wakenya. And lastly, sometimes we don't know the damage we cause to our economy when we do a few things that we do in this country. One of them, to target people's businesses. Let me tell you, as Minister for Finance, you know, I'm so knowledgeable in matters finance, Mheshimiwa, and we sat in Bunge. In fact, people should be moved from executive to parliament, I think, even to judiciary at times. You get to appreciate more. Now I understand the cost of riot. fact, when we used to close the roads in Nairobi and say all Mondays, holiday. Maandamano. Tuesday. I remember Baba saying, Tuesday. I didn't know the damage that was causing. Do you know, one day, when you close this economy, one day, it takes 3 months to come out of 1 day's disruption of economic activities. We are still feeling the effects of 2024. Today, it is still reflected in my figures. And I go to IMF, I have to convince them that things are improving. I have to talk to World Bank. Today, I am struggling with World Bank to justify and demonstrate that our debt sustainability is still within limit. Because they don't see economic projection, they are looking at economic projection, they are saying there was a lot of interruption, and for this to pick up, they are projecting 3 years. I'm telling them, no, it is just a few months. My friends, even if we don't agree with the government, I think we must look for ways of picketing in this country. That does not mean I am now against people picketing. We must picket if government is not doing the things we want government to do. You must demonstrate your displeasure, but let us not disrupt economic activities. It is costly, it is expensive, it is one of the reasons why we are paying high debts. It gets to a point, you and I are the ones who pay for those things. So let's talk to our children, let's talk to ourselves, and understand that we live in a country which, if it burns, all of us, no one is safe. All of us were here in 2007. I don't know who was, maybe a few people were not born, but I don't know. 2007, surely. Is there anyone in the room who was not alive then? But some of you were young. But those of us who are not young, we saw something you could never imagine. Your neighbor is turning against you. Someone you are drinking tea with. Someone you are greeting each other in the morning, in the evening. Nasema mama so and so, habari yako. All of a sudden, anashika panga, anakukata. Why? Because someone has been announced the president. And someone has not been announced the president. But the politics began, the toxic politics just began kama mchezo. It was just kama mchezo. Let me conclude. Ilikuwa kama mchezo. Mlikuwa mnaambiwa, huyu akichukua presidency, mtatembea na suruali. Na vinyasa, si ndio? Na sisi tuliambiwa, huyu saa hii ametukasirikia kupita kiasi. Akiendelea kuongoza nchi, mtalazimishwa mkule samaki mbichi. Let me tell you, if there is anyone who eats fish, anaogopa ni kukula samaki mbichi. Kulazimishwa ukule samaki mbichi. And you know, people believed it. To the extent we invested emotions in presidential election. Emotions. Yet presidents come and go. In fact, Kibaki had only 5 years left. And if Raila won, he had only 10 years. He would have ruled and left. Hata sahi, si mlikuwa mnasema yeye ndiye shetani zaidi. Na sasa tumemzika. Kwani shetani imeisha Kenya sasa? Wengi wenyu wameanza kulia, wapi Raila? Hata kabla hajazikwa, ni wapi Raila? But he is not going to be there again. He is gone. Ameenda. Mtaendelea kuchukia Mbadi, because Raila is gone. Na mimi pia nitakufa. Sasa mtachukia nani? Tulichukia Kibaki, akamaliza yake, akaenda. Uhuru amemaliza yake, ameenda. Leo ni Ruto. Kesho tutaanza kuchukia nani? Gachagua. Gachagua ataenda. Na tuchukue Ndindi Nyoro. Tuanze kumchukia. Is that the country we want to lead? Is that the country where we want to live? Anyway, I was just talking generally. Maybe I've made sense, maybe I've not made sense. But me, I am leaving you by saying, I am given a responsibility of being your Minister for Finance. Whether you are a Luo, a Pokomo, Kikuyu, Turkana, I am your Minister for Finance. I owe it to you to make things better. I will do my best in my small way to support the government and work for the people of Kenya. Hata kama utanichukia sababu ya kabila yangu ni sawa, but I will have done my best. Sawa sawa. Mwingine ataingia, tutamchukia, let him also do his best. May God bless you. Asanteni sana kwa kukuja. So I know later, I don't know whether we have, what is the program? Maybe, I don't know. And remember, I have been too busy crisscrossing Uganda, wapi. So maybe we have open plenary for 3 or so questions. Ama namna gani? Then tumalize. So this is what I'm going to suggest. Oh, like is suggesting bunge, students and business, but I'm thinking differently. You know, we had already representation from all those categories. So what I want is to pick someone from here, from there, and I will balance with gender. So let me see the first hand. I can see there is a hand of a gentleman here. Then there is a lady here. The people have pointed at, you just stand so that we see you. I'll do the second round. And I will start with you here. So here, this must be a man. I wish I could see a person living with a disability. Are you having a question? If you don't, I can pick him because he's sitting next to you. Can I? You have one, so let me pick him, my brother. Then here, wewe usisimame. Ni wewe. Haya. So just be direct to the point. Tuanze na yule akupale mwisho. Do you have a, oh, you want to use this? Okay, now ninaambiwa mmekaa sana. Can we all stand up for a minute? You stretch yourself. You stretch yourself. Useme ukabila hakuna. Ukabila hakuna, sisi zote ni wa Kenya. Haya. Now you could sit if you at your own pleasure. Let's be quick. You can see these guys are tired. Asubuhi walikuja hapa before lunch. Hatujawatengenezea lunch, so make sure 1 minute each.
Minister, niko na disability.
Just tell me, mention your name as well.
Paul.
Na whether you are from the business community, yes.
Paul Jenga. Niko na disability.
Thank you.
Nauliza, tuko na vikundi kama 5 disability. Disability na wale wako na severe na wale wako na guardians na parents. Nauliza, kwa ajili wale wako na severe na wale wazazi wanaweza kusaidiwa aje na serikali kwa ajili hata kama wanapewa ile kidogo, na nashukuru, na pia yuko na watoto wengine na yeye haiwezi toka nyumbani kwa ajili anaenda kazi nyingine. Please government wanaweza kuwasaidia.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ntajibu. Yes, Mama.
My name, CS Bandi, my name is Lea Mboro, representing Kenya NCCI in the SME sectoral head. I wanted to ask a question on operational expenses. In terms of the budget, over the years, we have seen about 70% or 85% going to the operation budget. And when I talk about operation budget, as an accountant like you are, I know you understand what I mean. We should now looking at development more so that we get more percentage of the development fund. And that way we'll go to Singapore. The other one is business associations, like KNCCI, KEPSA, and other recognized institutions. In the empowerment of the government to the SMEs or businesses or even the youth and the women, kindly consider that the organizations, business association can be the cluster to be able to deal with the issue of capacity building.
Okay.
The other one, the final one, is about the political party.
I wanted only one question.
Let me just finish in seconds.
Yes.
As a policy development, I wanted to just suggest that you increase the 30% of assigned political party money to the women so that the women can come up and they are able to go to affirmative action. Thank you.
Next, yeah.
Good evening. I'm Francis Dungo, a person with disability. Mine is just very short, and I would like CS Buddy to clarify to the persons of the disability. Because we have 2025 Disability Act, and we are still waiting for the regulation so that the act can be implemented to the letter. I would like you to consider the act to be implemented so that the lives of persons with disability can be adjusted adequately. Thank you.
Thank you. And then there was a lady there in white.
Thank you so much. My name is Wazi Maina from the University of Nairobi. I'm in campus, an aspiring governor in the same faculty. My question goes, because now we are in a student institution, we were requesting, because some of us, we as a student, we not even get access to that Nyota fund that was being given out to the youth in the pursuit of youth empowerment, and most of us can contest to that. Again, even with the students around, they have told me that they have not even received their 2.1 or their first semester help loans. How then are we expected to sustain ourselves in such a tight economy with having even small upkeep being a challenge and problematic to us as students? So we just request us from the student fraternity, if you could consider maybe if you would get the help loans at the right time, and make sure that we do not get them late, then we'll appreciate. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's... Let's deal with those ones first. So, Paul, you have asked specifically how do we deal with various categories of persons living with disability, more particularly those with severe disability. That's how the support should be stratified in a way that we give more attention to persons living with severe disability. I've taken note of that. By the way, some of these should not be like questions. They should be like suggestions. Because this was an engagement that is informing how we budget. I did not come here with answers. I came here to engage with you. So I listen to you and I hear you. And now that should inform our policy decision. Maybe we need to stratify the support that we give persons living with disabilities, so that those with people supporting them, like guidance, are not given the same support as those who have no one to support them, or some persons with severe disabilities. Now, Leah, I agree with you that for any country to develop, you must put more resources in development, as opposed to recurrent expenditure or operational expenses, as you put it. If you look at our budget, by the way, very little portion of our budget, local revenue or domestic revenue, go into development. Almost the whole of it is consumed on either debt repayment, pension, and recurrent expenditure. O&M. Let me just give you. Last year, we collected about 2.4 billion. 2.4 trillion shillings. Out of that 2.4 trillion, the debt service cost was about 1.1 trillion. So that leaves you with just about 1.3. How much is our salaries? It used to be 900 billion. This year it has crossed to 960, because now our wage bill per month has moved from 75 billion to 80 billion. That's for national government. So if you take out, say 900 billion from 1.3 trillion, you remain with only 400 billion. And transfers to counties is 415. It has taken all that money. So the only development budget that we finance with our domestic taxes or revenue is development in the counties. The national government budget, development expenditure, is borrowed money. That is the reality. But sometimes you ask yourself, yes, and maybe when we consider education as development, now we try now to be clever, to categorize maybe education as development. Although we know very well that yes, education is development, but it's a long-term one. So sometimes you ask yourself, do I stop paying salaries to put money on the road? Do I stop giving money for health programs and put money to do airport, to do development? The answer is no. You will go for capitation, you will go for recurrent. And by the way, security sector is consuming a lot of our budget. And I know people are complaining about security sector, but let me tell you one thing. We are in an environment that is exposed. We are bordering Somalia here. If you get the details of what some of the things that security sector stops or falls, the attempted attack on our land, then you would appreciate why we should spend on security. If something happens at the coast, like attack, Al-Shabaab attack, we would not have an economy. The entire tourism sector will come down on its knees. If it happens in Nairobi like it happened in Dusit, what happens? So security sector must be also looked into. Both NIS to gather information, defense. People have been saying that Kenya is not at war. Why are we upgrading our equipment? First, we are at war. We have been at war for years now. When Kibaki was president, we are at war with Al-Shabaab. Either we allow them to come and fight us here in Kenya, or we fight them out there. So we spend a lot of money in fighting Al-Shabaab. And we are in a neighborhood where, look at what is happening in Sudan. Look at what is happening in Congo, Rwanda. We are in a neighborhood, you are not sure of your enemies. Some people just issue some statement, some of our neighbors, which scares you. If we don't have equipment to deter them, because when we get some of those equipment, we tell them now, we are both soldiers and that. So take care. If you joke, we'll come for you. And it is a problem in the whole world. Europe now are scared of their security because they don't know when Russia will attack another nation. So that is the challenge we have. But I will tell you, that is why we are thinking of creating a fund for development. We need energy. We are generating only 3,000 megawatts, and we need at least 10,000. Where do we get money to generate power? This money that we are getting from Safaricom and KPC to upscale our energy. Otherwise, blackout will be the order of the day as it is. And the cost of energy will continue to rise. 2, we want to do irrigation. We cannot assure food security if we rely on God all the time. God ni mzuri, tunamuomba na tupatia rain na pale. But we should not be disturbing God too much when he decides to keep the rain a little bit, because he's the one who knows how to regulate the universe. So sometimes we should also be helping God. When he gives us a lot of rain, we should harvest that water, keep it, and do our agriculture. Ama namna gani? Christians in the room, kuna makosa nimefanya. You know, if I've gone too far, you tell me. But the only way to ensure development gets more budget is that. But there's something I wanted to say about this, because now that you have mentioned it, and I told my friends here, Mheshimiwa and the principal, I am not a student of austerity measures. Austerity measures only apply when economy is struggling and is failing. Why do you think America just spends money anyhow? And economists will tell you, and finance experts like me will tell you, that austerity measures is one of the laziest ways of handling an economy. When economy is struggling, stimulate it. Let there be money. Let people spend. If you are telling people not to hold meetings in hotels, how will those hotels make money? How will those people who are working in those hotels earn a living? So we should allow people to spend in our economy. We only come with this austerity measure because we can't survive. So when you are not surviving, you look for any tactic. It may be unorthodox. Like if you are walking at night in the darkness and someone just catches your neck, you will throw your leg, you don't even know who you are kicking, and throwing your hands just to survive. So austerity measure is only to survive. But I'm not advocating for wastage of public resources. So long as you spend the money prudently and you spend it in a more accountable manner, the better. We need to travel. People need to travel. That is when matatus will make business. Yeah? People should be traveling from Nairobi to Kisumu, Mombasa. So austerity measures is confining us. We don't spend. You know, a politician, I can go on forever. I have heard you about the business associations, increasing the political parties funds from 30%, that is going to the marginalized groups. I think Mheshimiwa is here. I think that is something that Parliament should consider and amend the law to provide for more support to the disadvantaged groups from that political parties funds. Presently, I agree with you, it is 30%, targeting women, youth, and persons dealing with the disability. Ms. Ndungu, you asked about regulations on 2025 Disability Act. This I will follow with my counterpart, my colleague, where it is. Loan help, loan delay, Maina. I will find out why help is delaying, because my understanding is we disburse help allocation on time. But I'll find out why that delay is there so that we make it seamless. We should not just put money in the budget. We are really trying to make sure that budget reaches the users. Finally, was on Nyota. Mainstreaming students into Nyota. Yes, that can be thought about. But again, we also don't want to remove students from classes to do business. Yeah, we want students to learn, finish, and either choose to go into business or employment. If we start taking you away from class and giving you money to start your businesses, my friend, especially men, cannot think business and think class. Women can, but men, multitasking. Ati unasoma na uko na business ka biashara yako na uko na girlfriend anakusumbua. Hizo tatu. It will be too much. So let us not remove students from classes. What we need to do is the money should be available for those who are coming out of colleges to support those who want to get into entrepreneurship, to go into entrepreneurship. But I would not advocate for setting aside funds for students to do businesses. That was it. Do you want us to take another round? See what wamechoka? Maybe I give only 2 people because I told you I'll give you. Wacha nimpe hata moja tu. Huyu mama alinua mkono. Yeah. Just quickly, you can see public opinion. Na mimi ninasikiza ground. Na tena ya ukweli. Yes.
I see the mood in the house, Wazili. So mine is quick. Number 1, my name is Jane Kehongi. Other than being Jane Kehongi, I'm also aspiring to be the senator of this great county. We had talked about GBV. The lady had talked, Dr. had talked about GBV. We want to send you as women of this county that we declare GBV a national disaster in this country, especially in our county. The other one is the other elephant we have in the room is Kirigiti Stadium. We don't know what has happened to Kirigiti Stadium. We have not used it. We don't know whether there is budget for it or whether there is no budget for it. So take that to Waziri so that we can have Kirigiti Stadium up and running. I also have another one. You said you want to take a very bold move in Parliament and declare that all those people who are working and have a salary of 30,000 not to be taxed. I want to give you another bold one. Education is key in this county and in the country as a whole. We have bursary funds from all over. We have the MCA, we have the woman rep, we have our able MP, we have the governor, we have the president. Why don't we consolidate all this into one kitty? You are a CS in the ministry. You send all this money to the Ministry of Education so we can have education free in this country. So that you can have education free in this country. We have so many people, we have so many students who have not moved to grade 10. The last one is the Women Fund, which you have just touched. Can we also have a budget improved for the Women Fund? Women are people who take these loans and they pay back. So can it be improved so that we can have our women empowered? Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think you can see we would have lost quite a bit if we didn't allow her to say what she has said. And first, let me again associate and praise you for what you have said, because one of the reasons, actually the main reasons why I came here is to listen to you, to listen to your suggestions. And I'm having takeaways here. One is that Kiringiti Stadium, what happened to it? So I'm taking back that to find out why it is not going on. All right? Number 2, a very bold suggestion indeed. I made this suggestion as well. Mheshimiwa here has bursaries, and you can't blame him because people come to his home every morning. When Mheshimiwa, I don't know whether you also get those guests. I'm told in Central it's different, but they come to your offices, I'm sure. Kwetu, saa 11 asubuhi, watu wako kwa mlango yako. Even now, they know very well I don't have bursaries with the MP. But it is worse for me now. Anytime they see me at home, saa 11 ni kama soko ya Gikomba. in my gate. That this is reality. If you go home with me, on the 80% school fees. And yet we have bursary here, bursary there, bursary huku, bursary huku. I think we may just need a candid conversation and ask ourselves, this NGCDF, and I'm a very strong advocate of NGCDF. If there is anywhere where I've disagreed with the late Baba, it was the NGCDF. And by the way, I disagreed with him when I was no longer an MP. I told him, Baba Hapa, you are wrong. NGCDF has helped this country. You guys, I want to tell you this. Don't listen to these people of civil society. They have their own issues and agenda. Yes, the Constitution may say this, but were we made for the Constitution or the Constitution was made for us? Let us see how we can mainstream NGCDF. If you think MPs have too much powers, reduce those powers of the MPs and make sure there is NGCDF, because our education infrastructure in this country would not be the way it is today without NGCDF. But that part of NGCDF that goes to bursary, I think it is now about 40%. We can get that 40%, because like the last allocation was 58 billion. The one that is running this year. Let's say about 60. 40% is 24 billion. Then we go to NGAF. I can see governors are also struggling, even though education at that level is not evolved. But they are fighting all over with control of budget, and for good reasons, because governors are always in the village there. And people are coming to them for school fees. What do you want them to do? The same with MCAs. So let us ask governors, how much have you been paying? And don't say the money that has gone to counties should never come back. No, we want fund education. We can ask governors, how much are you spending on bursaries? This much. Presidential, this much. Then we add this to capitation to schools. And then we see the shortfall. And we plug it. We can decide, because now we are taking away some infrastructure from the budget. We increase and we provide free, especially high school education. Before we even speak about universities, because universities have their help and scholarship, we can just enhance. We can significantly make education affordable in this country. We can. We can. But again, Kenyans, we have some very bad habits. Very bad habit. Even people who can afford to pay for their children also want free things. My child goes to university, ati mimi pia nime queue. Nataka help. Ya nini? And there are people who are suffering. People who cannot afford. And you are crowding out such people. And you are lying on those forms. Nyinyi kwanza, nyinyi wanafunzi. Mnafundishwa tabia mbaya na your parent. Your parent is alive and is a teacher. Okay, teachers also are not so much. Let me give an example of you have no is a DO, a deputy county commissioner. Yeah? Mashara is your father, and you go and lie that your father is dead, and then you attach death certificate of his brother. That is what some students do. It is unethical. It is wrong. Let me tell you, some of us, if it were not for efforts of some people, I would not be standing in front of you here. Because my father, I was born when my father was 71 years old. I know you are laughing because you have started doubting whether he was really my father. But I will tell you, those who know my father or who knew him and me knew, I don't know whether God just wanted to save me from the stress. I'm a photocopy of that 71-year-old mzee then. He could not. Hakukuwa na pesa. Thank God at the university I got help. Higher Education Loans Board. That's why I think we must support Higher Education Loans Board. Our children must be supported at the university. For high school, I was lucky. My brother went to Kericho, tea plantation. He did that manual work. He educated me. If it were not for him, probably I would be somewhere along the shores of Lake Victoria, doing some other very productive, economically productive exercises. There is, I have had you on GBV. So that was all. Was there anything else? But some question here on pension payments. I know we have had challenges with pension payments, but we are streamlining that department. The Director General is here. He knows what we are doing. Pension department we are automating now so that those issues of delayed pensions will be a thing of the past. We will not have delayed payments anymore of pension. So just bear with us. We are cleaning up that space. And there's a lot of corruption there also. So let's allow us to clean it up. We know of people who have, I'm telling you things that happen in this country. Some pensioners, some beneficiaries are doing business in Gikomba. But their beneficiaries, they're the ones taking pensions. So we are trying to clean up those things. Wacha ni wache hapo. I want to thank you very much for coming. And I know that there is some lunch that was being provided. Lakini nimesikia kuna wengine pia, you know, there's a way we communicated to Bunge la Wananchi, to business community, to the students, and the rest. Now nimesikia, kuna wengine wamesikia tu Mbadi anakuja. Na wakakuja. Now watu kama hao, kwanza, you know, they make me happy because wananipenda. So, I don't know, but I'm leaving something extra for those people. The accountant, mko wapi hao watu? Accountant ako wapi? So tutaongeza ile pesa alikuwa naye ya kusota hao wengine. Kuna hawa hawako kwa list. Nitaongeza some So, accountant, you have enough security there. These are the people, you know, someone was telling me they get crushers, but they are not get crushers. These are